watching Nomad at night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, no maniacs. Welcome into the show. This is some extra sauce covered by you guys over here at the Nomad Network. We got a bunch to talk about, but before we get all the way into it, please hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe. If you want to come in here, this is subscribers only show. If you want to come in here and chat, feel free. Just hit the subscribe button and jump on in with your commentary. We'll welcome everybody that wants to come in and talk. But with that being said, we got quite a bit to talk about. It's been a whole bunch going on since the last time we seen you guys on Sunday. We had a really good show that day. So if you haven't seen that Nomad at Night show, you should probably go back and check that out when the show is over, and then come check this one out. But yeah, man, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. I mean, when I say a bunch, I mean a bunch. We got a bunch of coaching news, some interviews that just came down the wire, and you know, this whole thing with Ben Johnson, man, I think it's getting. I'm starting to feel like Trip. I'm starting to feel like the fan base and the media that's been banging this drum about Ben Johnson, man. I think they're starting to cope. I think they're starting to really. Those coping mechanisms are kicking in, and now they're starting to shift their focus to Mike McCarthy and names like that. And it's obvious, you know, what the media puts us through. I think you have to understand exactly what their game plan is. It's to beat the drum for the coach that they want, or the draft pick that they want. Never ever stop and being relentless about it, and hoping that you want to come along for the ride with them. Right about now, that drum was loud for Ben Johnson. Now it's kind of quietening down. You still see people out here on the perimeter still, you know, beating the drum pretty loud, but for the most part, it's kind of dying down now because Mike McCarthy has. You know, he's got an in-person interview. You know, I think they're whining and dining him right now as we speak. And people are starting to feel, you know, they're coping. They're starting to get to a place where they're trying to accept the fact that we might not get Ben Johnson for reasons that Ben Johnson may not want to be here. And I think we need to understand that because it's a lot of noise. I'll be watching all kinds of podcasts, different reporters from everywhere. And in particular, I'm watching a lot of Detroit podcasts and reporters from there, and a lot of Vegas reporters and podcasts from there. And it's all starting to make sense right about now. It's a whole bunch of momentum towards Ben Johnson going to Vegas. And that's got a bunch of people upset, and they don't know why they're upset. The truth of the matter is there's another team out there that Ben Johnson probably prefers over this one. And I think we need to learn how to cope with it. But with that being said, let me pass it on to my guy, Triple R. Triple R, you got some pleasantries for you boys?
Yeah, big up to all the no maniacs out there. Doing a little extra sauce tonight. And, you know, I'll let Kedz read everybody's by name because I can't see the chat, so I don't know who the fuck I'm talking to.
All right,
big up to everybody.
Let me give him a quick shout out for you. FFG popped in first. My guy FFG Style is in there. Liberty's Outlook is here. Crooked Commish, Marco King, AC Adam, Black Rain 7920. My guys, man. The regular.
Right on. All right, so big up everybody. Just to, I guess, carry on the conversation so we can get off of it. The media and Ben Johnson, you know, is like a kid with a new toy. And with Flus gone, you look for the new shiny object or person, in this case, coach, that is like, oh shit, well, he's the next hottest thing. We have an opening, so of course we got to get the next hottest thing out there. And then it's like, well, as time goes on, there are other options. You know, McCarthy came available. He has experience. You know, you look at other options that are out there, and then you look at from the perspective of Ben Johnson, it's like, well, yeah, the Bears have an opening, but so do the Raiders, so do the Jets, so do the Cowboys, you know, the Saints, the Jaguars, and Bears fans are like, well, of course he wants to come to Chicago. None of those other teams, you know, have a quarterback. And it's like, Okay, so what are you really saying? Maybe he don't, want a non-rookie now, Caleb Williams. Maybe he wants to go to a situation where, if you look at just the Raiders example, work under the tutelage of the arguable GOAT, Tom Brady, that influence in the front office, and just have a clean slate of a team. Trade Max Crosby, get what you can get for him. Trade any upper high-end contracts of older guys. Clear the deck like Ryan Poles did when he got here. And have a clean slate cap-wise. And then quarterback-wise, look for a retread guy. Darnold's going to be looking for a contract. So, you look for guys that are on the market for the free agent quarterback class that are, prove it guys, 1 year prove it, like Justin Fields, just to say a name that will be out there. Maybe Russell Wilson, who knows? But you sign one of those guys, you rebuild the team in your image under his coordinators, and then you look for the draft rookie in the next year's draft, or you worry about that later. But there are other opportunities that can be, attractive. And so it's not like we got our pick of the litter, so to speak. And so if Ben Johnson is a pick of the litter, it's like, well, of course he's coming here because we want him. It's like, nah, shit don't work like that. and Bears fans, listen to the hype and get gassed up. And that's why Kevin Warren, being the diplomat he is, Bears fans, the greatest fans in the world, by God. This is a first-class organization, the envy of the motherfucking NFL.
Cap.
And Bears fans feed into that shit. And it's like, man, there's other organizations out here. Just chill with that. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? It's just like we root for our team, fine, but we're better than, well, of course, we're better than the Packers fans because fuck them. That's why. But just we're better than any other organization. Now, I don't buy that. But, the media is going to hype Ben Johnson until the next shiny thing comes along. Oh, well, Ben Johnson, yeah. But Mike McCarthy, hey, they flew him in on a private jet, whining and dining. He has the pedigree. He has the experience. He hires the good underlings as far as his coaching staff. He has developed quarterbacks and, and Rodgers, and I don't know what Prescott's thing is, but, Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, that didn't really work out. But, there are other options. So we have, another month before any final decision really can be made if any prospective candidate coaches are still coaching into the Super Bowl. So you got to wait till after the Super Bowl to make the formal interviews or decisions or second interviews or whatever the fuck. So it could be a minute. And the Ben Johnson hype, it's like, yeah. Ben Johnson is like, yeah, that's gotten old. It's not getting clicks. It's not getting the same amount of views. So you got to, change it up a little bit.
Yeah. I think there's an elephant in the room in that conversation too. That there's I've seen situations where at this point in the season where there's coaching openings and we're pushing into a couple weeks post regular season where the announcements have the coaches that really want to go coach at a place, they've already announced that they'll be leaving that team to go to the next team, and we'd already know that kind of stuff. But the elephant in the room is, I think everybody, just because we're Bears fans, expect that, everybody outside of here, whether it be fans or coaches, we see the situation. They see the situation the same way that we do, Trips. And they see this quarterback situation the same way that we do. And to be quite frank with you, no, they don't. No, they don't. And the elephant in the room is, does Ben Johnson see the situation and this quarterback the way we choose to see the situation and the quarterback? Does he think this quarterback is a guy that can, really galvanize a team and that he can win with? That's a question. You know what I mean? And now, you know, you would expect it that Ben Johnson, that's the first thing he'd have wanted to do. He's not even going to consider any other team. He's just going to, you know, interview for this Bears job, and that's going to be it. But that's not really what's happening. And I think that's got a lot of people, there's some trepidation out there. And I think it's some conversations that need to be had, which we will have on this show tonight, because we don't do podcasts to sit here and placate for people and try to make people feel good about what they want to believe is going on, man. We just tell you the truth, and you deal with it how you deal with it. But that conversation has to be something. Kids, give me a thumbs up when you feel like you're ready down there. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, it helps when I push the button. What it do, no maniacs? What's popping, my brothers?
What up?
A mouthful of yogurt probiotic time, you know what I mean? I'll take care of that gut, get that gut health going. But look, this whole conversation with Ben Johnson is getting a little bit more interesting. I think a certain QB that you were just alluding to might have his eye on a certain Detroit Lions OC as well, and that's kind of an interesting portion to all of this too. And I think your little question is important. Does Ben Johnson see what he wants to see in Caleb Williams? That's yet to be proven. I just find the notion outside of dollars and cents of Ben Johnson going to the Raiders a little bit funky. Like, because like, who gives a shit about Tom Brady's ass? Like, I just got to put it out there. Like, what has Tom Brady done?
Let me help you out with a little bit more perspective. I don't know that you know this.
Okay.
But, there was word out that Ben Johnson, and this is coming on it. It was like in sequence. The word came out that Ben Johnson wanted to go to a situation that didn't have a GM. He wanted to pick his own GM. And in sequence, probably within 24 hours or less, there was a report that came out that said Ryan Poles is kind of wanting the organization to stay away from Ben Johnson. I don't know if you're up on that, but that's real shit that really happened. Now,
brother.
But now let me help you out here, because not longer than probably about 48 hours ago, the Raiders abruptly fired their GM. It looked like that they were going to keep that guy after they fired Antonio Pierce. But abruptly, 24, 48 to 72 hours after they fired Antonio Pierce, abruptly they fired their GM. And so what does that tell you? That tells me a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah. But you're talking to the guy who's been saying get rid of Ryan Poles for the last year. So you know what I mean? Me personally, I'm with it. I'm glad they got rid of the guy that was over there in LA. It might clear a little bit of room if Ben Johnson is trying to bring and field an entire staff that includes a GM. Yes, the words have been out there for time actually that Ryan Poles might be a little bit worried about the whole GM, the GM shuffle, or him losing his job or being pushed out if the Bears brass overall is enamored with Ben Johnson. Sounds like a couple players are. And I hate that it's part and parcel as to, one more reason why I was ready to get rid of Ryan Poles, because I don't see, retaining him over getting the right head coach is negligible to me. I don't care. I don't think he's done such a great job that we should overlook the coach that potentially might right this ship for him, right? Like that's where my headspace is there. And I know you feel quite a bit differently, especially if we're talking about this guy, because again, this guy hasn't proven anything, right? How are you going to come, lay down the law and tell folks what you want to do and how you're going to do it when one more time he's never been a head coach. He's never taken anybody to the dance. This is all on theory, right? So
let me add this to your theory there, Kedz.
Yeah, boss.
You put all that together and you look at it from a perspective of Ben Johnson, and it's like, do I want to go to a Raiders organization who, has their own level of dysfunction, ownership wise, and has, 3 or 4 head coaches and coordinators and GMs that they're still paying that don't work there no more. You know, so do you want to go into an environment where you know it could be short-lived tenure, but you're getting a 4 or 5 year contract, 15 mil a year, but you might only last 2 years, or go to the Bears with their level of dysfunction at Hallis Hall and work with, you know, Caleb Williams, but make 10 million a year.
Exactly. Like, exactly, right? It's really that's why I said outside of dollars and cents, right? If this is a dollars and cents thing, I get it. Go to the Raiders. Mark Davis will drop his pants, and that's how John Gruden got there the last time around. If y'all remember, as much as everybody poo-poos on the whole, you know, once they hear the name John Gruden, oh, you know, when we were the last time we were looking for a head coach, 2 times ago. Anyways, 2 cycles ago, 2 head coaching cycles ago, we were all about maybe a John Gruden and or a Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh re-signed with Michigan at the time, and John Gruden just got paid out the fring, $10 million a year by the Raiders. They just blew out the pocketbook up.
Mm-hmm.
McCaskey's couldn't compete. I don't see anything but that happening again if they are truly enamored with Ben Johnson. Now, facts of the matter are he's going to be walking into a situation where all he has is a tight end. They got rid of the running back. They don't have, you know what I mean? They don't have a quarterback of note. They let Adams go. They don't have the wide receiver of note either. They got a tight end, yo. You know,
they also have $100 million in cap. So you know.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we got 80, if I'm right.
Yeah, 80, some around.
And more than 80.
It is more, but we also have a quarterback, right? Maybe they've got a better offensive line. You know, some of these things are questionable. I just don't see, you know, Tom Brady in this scenario even this picture is kind of laughable to me. Because he's done nothing by way of business. He's never brought the Raiders to the Super Bowl, guys. Let's just put that out there. The Raiders didn't ever go to the Super Bowl with Tom Brady in any capacity, whether by business, ownership, or playing. Never happened.
So, you're looking at it surface level, and you're not really giving thought to the context here. I just got through explaining that, you know, you got to look at stuff in sequence, man. You got to look at, no matter what you think about the situation, you got to look at how things are playing out. You know, he came out and I think that's his agent. These are agents talking, putting reports out that he's looking for a team that doesn't have a GM. He wants to bring in his own guy. And abruptly, right after their 48 hours, 72 hours after they fire Antonio Pierce, all of a sudden the Raiders decide to let go of their GM, who they really like. You know, I mean, it's not like they didn't like this guy. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's the fact that they want this guy so bad that they're willing to acquiesce. So as much as you poo-poo what's on the screen, you just ignoring what you see in your face.
Well, no, I'm poo-pooing the Tom Brady aspect of it, right? I'm not necessarily poo-pooing the GM aspect. That was obvious to me in the beginning of this cycle, right? Like, I'll be completely frank about it, and it's part of the reason why I kind of thought a certain GM for the Chicago Bears should probably be put out of his misery. It's got a lot to do that. And then when McCaskey's asked a question about retaining the GM and how whether, you know, that might affect situations moving forward by way of the head coach coming in, should they be aligned? Should they not be aligned? What does that look like? And he doesn't even understand that this might be a detriment to his head coaching search overall. Right? He didn't even understand that, normally they just jump to get the job. Well, bro, like, look at the job. Matt Nagy got fired. Matt Eberflus got fired. Like, the track record of the job here basically means 4 years you're out, you're an OC. And like, Brian Urlacher was talking exactly about this earlier on. It's like Marcus Freeman. They're looking at Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman got a $30 million contract. Cool. So the Bears are going to pay out the $30 million contract and then pay him peanuts? Like, they can't really compete like that. They can't pay him more than $30 million. And I'm not saying that they can't, but traditionally.
They could.
You know what I mean? Like,
get to that conversation. But while we're in the moment talking about Ben Johnson preferring the Raiders, I think it's Like I'm following this stuff pretty damn closely, and as ignorant as it looks to you, I'm telling you, this is very real. This is very real.
Hey, the realest thing needs to be them asking George, it's like, hey, when those interviews you've been involved with for coaching searches, they have all failed, right? Yeah. Then why the fuck are you not letting your football people in Ryan Poles and his boss Kevin Warren handle this? Why are you even here? Why aren't you out doing some rich people shit? Well, go somewhere. When they hire them, they'll send you a text, and you can, chime in and be like, well, I hope they win, because guess what? You're just like us, George. You own the team, which is different than us, but you're just a fan. Fans don't get to sit in on interviews and have, their 2 cents and ask their questions. Stop it.
So
Okay,
Trip, one last thing I want to mention, you and Kedz, is like, think about this as far as the landscape goes. Now you looking at Chicago, like you would prefer, it depends on what you prefer, right? Like if you were a coach looking for a job, would you like to go to a place that has set pieces? You know what I mean? You're a quarterback, got a few receivers. Versus fertile soil, where you can plant those seeds and where you want to see it. Get rid of the GM and do it exactly how I want to do it, instead of having these things there for me and I'm forced to work with that. See, that aspect I think we choose to ignore because it's convenient for us.
No, that's actually very important, right? And again, let's just look back at the Gruden hire, right? When Gruden went over to LA,
Gruden, man,
because he was the last guy signed to the Raiders as head coach, and when he got signed, he flushed everybody out and brought his own GM in. It was part of the package deal, and that's Mike Mayock in that scenario, right? So in this scenario, maybe Ben Johnson's really looking for the same type of payment that Gruden was getting, which was way over market. He's also probably looking at bringing in his own guy, which all makes sense for him to, again, move over to one floundering organization versus the other, because this one will let him do what he wants to do and will pay him over market. That's how that was the Gruden deal. He got paid well over market, brought Mike Mayock along with them, and that's what it looked like.
I mean, because if you want to keep it real about the options of the coaching positions, which dysfunction are you more in tune to accept? What's going on in the Jets? What's happening down in Jacksonville? In New Orleans? Or you want to work under Jerry Jones? Or would you rather come to Hallis Hall or go be overpaid in Vegas? I mean, all of these organizations are kind of like, what the fuck are y'all doing in the front office and ownership? We don't know. But those are the openings. So which one do you want to go for? The one that already has veteran talent and is expecting you to come in and win, and because now you're already coming in and the seat's kind of warm, or go to the dysfunctional organizations that's going to give you more runway because it's a tear down, rebuild kind of situation.
I like the former. I mean, I like the fertile ground. I can plant the seeds the way I want them instead of having to,
that would be the latter. That would be the latter.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I prefer that, because this way the pieces that we bring in here, the ones that I'm telling these guys in this front office that this is how I can win. Give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that, and the third. And there's no way to do that if I'm being given all this stuff and saying make this work. I might not like some of these pieces. You know what I mean? Instead of having all the expectations on you that you would have in Chicago with the this quarterback, the coaching situation, just the dynamic that Chicago is in by itself, why would you really run to that when you don't have to? No matter what you think of Caleb Williams or anything, why would you run to that knowing that the expectations for you are like laser fast? Like, he better get it right, like right now, or unless if he doesn't, everybody's going to look at Ben Johnson like, man, what the hell we hire you for? You know what I mean? So the expectations are exponentially higher in Chicago, and we need to understand that. And that's probably not as attractive as we think it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just not.
Whoa. So you're saying the expectations for Ben Johnson are higher if he was hired in Chicago than they would be in Vegas?
Absolutely.
Well, at least a lot faster.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
The turnaround for Ben Johnson would be like light years faster here. That he'd have to, put up some results versus he'd get a couple 2-3 years in Vegas, given that situation.
Yeah, because now remember here, he's coming in on the clock already because Caleb Williams' #1 draft pick is already in year number 2. So he's going to have to make that happen like right fucking now.
Exactly.
Or Chicago's be like, look, we got this another rookie quarterback that we did not develop. Now he's out of here. What is this Johnson guy? Why are you still here? You didn't make this success happen, as opposed to in that same amount of time still being in Vegas with that clean runway is like, hey, we're still building here. We're good.
They will turn on Ben Johnson faster than a starving dog after you give him a piece of bacon and try to pick it up.
So, oh man, I don't like what y'all saying.
Ben Johnson has to come to Chicago and win now. He has to win now.
We're not like that. All right, so let me just.
You can try to fight it, but it's the truth.
I can't sit here and I said I don't like what you're saying. I'm not saying y'all lying. There's a difference. You know what I mean? So what I am going to say here is this, right? So whoever, Ben Johnson, whoever the F it winds up being, Bears fans, year 1, head coach gets carte blanche, free pass, no matter what happens.
Hell no, that ain't gonna happen here.
He has to. Or how can that not happen? He has to.
Because get this man, would you chop into this body because he don't understand? Like they're expecting this guy to come in here and be magic, like they expecting Caleb Williams to come in here and have a cape on and just right every wrong that happened. They're expecting Ben Johnson to have that kind of magic when he comes in here because he's been successful. So they won't. I'm telling you, they will be disappointed.
I'm just being a realist now. Like let's be real human beings. Fucking magic doesn't like it. When was the last time you went to a magic show?
No.
You know what I mean? Like magic doesn't really exist. Fuck. Like let's just be
real. Hey. Let's put some respect on his name, Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson is the realest magic you're gonna see, period. And he right. He beat AIDS.
You know what I'm saying? He got that Hibbs back a couple decades ago.
Maybe there is some magic.
He owned the basketball teams, baseball teams, football teams. Magic putting it down.
hey, fellas, you know what this feels like? And I had a graphic for it, but I didn't make it. Shout out to my guy Nick, our producer, man. He won't be around for a minute. He's got some personal stuff to deal with. I hope he didn't mind me saying that, but he had to step away for a minute to take care of some personal business. And shout out to him, man. Got number of love for him, and we're here for you.
Big ups to you.
And but I didn't make I made the graphic, but then I got rid of it because it's kind of basically this feels like before Caleb got here and everybody was doing all that rooting and tooting and carrying on about this is going to be it and this is exactly what we need. And we're going to the play. We're going to probably end up in the Super Bowl. That kind of energy was the same for Caleb Williams being drafted here. It's the same energy I'm seeing to get Ben Johnson. He's going to right every wrong. Just hire Ben Johnson, and that'll fix everything. And it's the same energy, and I feel like I'm looking at a bag of Okie Doke popcorn.
That's what I'm trying
Y'all falling for that shit again. Y'all falling for that bullshit again.
Well, that's the same energy as every new general manager, every new head coach, every new, highly touted rookie, quote unquote blue chip player, whatever fucking position. They're going to be the ones to set the ship straight and get us out of this losing shit. So it's kind of like when you're, let's say, drowning out there in the water and somebody throws you what do you call it? A donut thingy, a lifesaver, like literal lifesaver, not the candy. You can hold on to that motherfucker and be happy as shit. But then somebody's driving by in a big ass yacht, and it's like, "What up, dog?" And it's like, "Huh? How come I can't have that?" And it's like, "Well."
Look at Demond Dice's comment down there.
I was laughing at that, man. The big hip chip read it out the other day on me. I believe in magic like the McDonald's commercials. This is Demond Dice. Shout out to Demond. Look, there ain't no magic. she just She just did you
They
right.
know
You
you're right.
know what I mean?
Nice.
She did you right. She did you right. She's a good girl, but she don't know no magic. They ain't no magic, y'all. Yeah, everybody needs to calm down and slow the roll. This is a process. It's not going to happen overnight next year. If it does, we'll all be super happy and impressed and stoked and celebrating. Don't get me wrong. Set expectations correctly. Whoever they decide to hire, he needs a 1 year, what you guys basically just said to me one more time is that Ryan Poles royally screwed this up.
Oh, here we go.
That's what
This has got his offseason target. And
bro, I'm gonna keep going because I'm gonna keep
he's
going.
not gonna stop.
I'm not gonna. Oh man, I was about to do some Diddy and like I can't even Diddy. Like
Can't stop, won't stop.
thanks, brother. You know what I'm saying? Look. The guy should have hired the coach with the quarterback and lined them up. Now it's all fucked up. So if the quarterback had a bad season, we got rid of the coach. Now we're bringing in the coach, and the coach basically has a 1 year runway. This guy's a rookie too. Like we're talking about Ben Johnson. He's never been a head coach before. He didn't know what the fuck he's doing. You don't think he's Jesus. You know what I mean? Like people out there, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not. He's gonna have to come in here and figure out what he's doing and get used to the cadences, calling timeouts, etc.
The guy's a first-time head coach. People were acting like this over Dayball. Year before that, they were acting like that over
Bears fans.
Sala, the defensive coordinator in San Francisco. And what happened to both of them? What happened to damn both of them? When y'all gonna get it through your heads as a fan that there is no easy fix to this? There's no easy. And Kedz trying to preach to y'all and tell people that, hey, you got to be patient. Good luck. Good luck. They ain't
I'm just trying to put it out there. You know what I mean? I got to put it out there so folks can hear it and understand it. Whether they agree with me or take me on is a completely different thing. I just know that I've done my job. You know what I mean? I've done the right thing. I let y'all know that this is not an overnight fix. Ben Johnson might replace the name, Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams. I said the exact same things with him coming in as a rookie. You need to give him a runway. Got to give him a runway. He's going to struggle. This team ain't built for a quarterback. They never fixed any of the problems. Same token, new head coach. None of the problems are fixed with him here, except maybe he might figure out how to call plays offensively and or call timeouts in a timely fashion. Like, great. Those are the only two of the multitude of issues that have been plaguing this team that we all witnessed last season, right? Bunch of issues. So keep your eyes on him. Hopefully he gets through them and does well. Again, maybe he'll come in and be gangbusters. But good Lord, gangbusters is not the expectation, right? You know what I mean? It can't be. If it is, Bears fans, Chicago, Illinois, you're setting yourself up for failure, bro.
That's what we do, baby.
I know, y'all. We real good at it, though.
That's
We're
what
like
we do.
experts at it.
I mean, because remember, we're not replacing a personnel person or a GM or a coach or a player with somebody who's going to make us worse. We're going to improve, and that improvement means Super Bowl. And anything less is like, you suck. And we're not going to give you time to learn.
No,
Ryan Poles, first-time general manager, Flu's first-time coach. It's like, what are going to be growing pains? Well, fuck that. He needs to be gone 2 years later. It's like, well, what happened to those growing pains? And it's like, all right. So we're in a rush. We want it now. Microwave oven, not oven. Not sun, just let it slow bake. We want it now. And we're thirsty because we haven't won shit in a long while. But we all have our ideas on how to fix it and not doing that shit. I've seen, we look at Ben Johnson. You can take that graphic down now. But I've seen that the fan base is now it's like, well, that Monken guy, he would be interesting. Oh, well, I like Flores. Oh, I like that McCarthy's available. I want him. But Pete Carroll, he would get the locker room. So there's a division among the fan base on who they want. There's no uniform like candidate or choice like Ben Johnson is portrayed to be, I don't think. But the one thing that we all have in common, no matter who our choices are, if you have a top 10 or top 5, or you just don't give a shit. Because the ones that don't give a shit, like me, we just want to win. Just get the right guy. Because we want to look in, a few years of, the 2024 coaching candidate interview list, all the volumes that we have at Hallis Hall of the thousands of people that they have interviewed. And it's like, we just want to make sure that the one that we pick is the winner, and not the Liam Cohen from Tampa Bay who don't even get an interview. Now let that son of a bitch win wherever he goes, and it's like, well, why didn't we even interview him? We're not going to be happy as a fan base unless we get it right. And if they don't get it right, they got to go too. And so the next person we get in there, whether it be a player, general manager, or coach, is going to get it right, right?
The question of the day, right? Like, it's a question of the hour. It's a question of the year. So and like sneaky in the chat, I can guarantee you, I can find somewhere somebody saying the Bears they just ain't gonna get it right. And I know I saw it early. Oh, here it is, Mr. Mayhem. The Bears will hire the wrong guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could have counted on it. So,
well, I was at least trying to be positive by using the word right instead of wrong.
At least
positivity,
positive thinking. That's it. Manifest positive thinking, brother. So, yeah, man. I mean, that's it. They just have to hire the right guy. Maybe it's Ben. Maybe it's Mike McCarthy. Maybe it's Marcus Freeman. I don't know. I'm with the due diligence. Do it. Figure out who that guy is. Bring him in town and give him the runway to get the job done. But again, us as fans, we're going to look at this situation year 2, and we need to see marked improvement. That's the expectation, y'all. Marked improvement. Like, it should be obvious. There should be an uptick on the offense. That's what we need to see. And we also need to see the defense not take a huge dive. That's what we need to see. Those should be the expectations. I can't guarantee you that the next guy who comes in here is going to take you out of the Super Bowl, that he's going to take you out to the playoffs, or that he's going to make Caleb Williams into Aaron Rodgers. None of those magic tricks happen to be up this guy's sleeve. If they aren't, it is what it is. You just kind of have to roll with it and do the darn thing the way you can do it. But, man, it's one of those things. We set ourselves up for failure left, right, and center, and it's just crazy. I don't know where else to go with all that, but if we were still talking about Tom Brady and Ben Johnson, like I say, I don't have any kind of I don't see how Tom Brady factors into this thing at all. It's just like, hey, Jeff Bezos bought the company, great. He ain't working here really. He's not doing anything. I don't know, man. Beats me. What do you got there?
Oh, this is a little
mini hockey stick.
This is a little tool that I think that our next head coach is going to need in the locker room.
You might be right,
because they need discipline. They need to be told what to do, and if they don't do it, they need to be punished.
Well, I suppose then maybe without the homie floating around, maybe we should just get to.
Well, yeah, and it seems as though Nomad's having some internet issues.
Yeah, that's my guess. So maybe we should just get to some of this. Did you get to watch this, bro?
Yeah, I watched the part where you're talking about the coach, because the rest is just blah 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 to me. Like, that thing was like an hour and a half long, and it's like, I don't care. Oh, I can fast forward? Oh, cool. And so I caught the part where it was like, that's why I know that we need a coach with the discipline, because Caleb wants a strong-minded coach, a leader of men, if you will. Why I'm speaking German, I don't know.
Da, Tovarish.
All right, what the hell happened? I apologize to everybody, man. I should have said this at the onset of the show that Comcast and Xfinity has been in my neighborhood because some kind of issue going on. So my connection, I thought we were over that. They were supposed to be done with that in business hours, but apparently not. And I should have said that right off the top, man. It could be some more issues going on. Hopefully not, knocking on wood right now. we ended up here at the St. Brown podcast in that conversation. So what did I miss, man?
Very little. You're just sort of coming in at the very beginning of it. We figured we'd move the conversation on to something else because, good Lord, we kind of killed the Ben Johnson, Tom Brady conversation to death. That's just about finished. But right. We should probably talk a little bit about Caleb and
hold up. How about this, man? Let me save that because I was gonna, I wasn't here to say nothing about it, but I was holding on to that for last because we got a couple more coaching situations we got to talk about.
All right, let's change it up. Do your thing.
All right, let me get to it because Mike McCarthy is the hot name out there right now. Talk about right now. Mike McCarthy. I'm gonna kind of leave this for you guys to give me your comments on what you think about Mike McCarthy because I have my own, but I know this. He's won in different places, but my man has not evolved over the years. You know what I mean? With his offense hasn't evolved, and it's pretty dry for an NFL offense in 2025. But he's been here, he's been there, he's done it, got quarterback experience, and people won't have to worry about whether or not we have an offensive coordinator in a year or two. We got that going on. But what do you guys think about head coach Mike McCarthy? He's so far the only one that's been flown in privately, and what do you think about that?
Just I think a little fact check. I saw a post that Courtney Cronin reported last week that actually all of the candidates are being private jetted in. So McCarthy is not special in that aspect because trying to run a first-class organization, Kevin Warren wanted to do that. But it's just been reported as Mike McCarthy was the only one to have the private jet, according to that report or that tweet.
Have any of the other candidates been to Hallis Hall?
Hey man, don't get me all. I don't know because I think most of them were the virtual, the Zooms.
That's my
thus
point.
Far.
That's why that's why I asked the question.
Unless it was like, Thomas Brown, who was probably still there, stuff like that. But, McCarthy, I would ask him a different set of questions that I would ask someone who's doing this for the first time. McCarthy, you've had winning seasons. Why the fuck can't you win it all? What's the problem? What have you gleaned from your losses or your failures year to year? You may have a good season, but you don't win a Super Bowl. That's a failure. How do you change that? What have you learned on how to deal with players who, want to be great as opposed who just want to be paid, and are kind of loafing on the job? What have you learned over the course of your career that will better this franchise right now?
Trips, there's a little narrative going on out there that this might be the default pick, like the safe pick. And that probably makes a lot of sense to a bunch of people when they hear stuff.
Yeah, because you look at just the nature of what seems to be like a lot of the front offices, especially in this city. George watched McCarthy develop, or at least help develop, Aaron Rodgers, and had, them kicking our ass for, 2 times a season for all those seasons. And so George probably has a little secret heart on for us, like, oh man, we can get McCarthy. If he could kick our ass like that, then he could kick everybody's ass. That's some of the simplistic thinking that goes on in that front office. It has to be, because there are too many times you see a player or a coach have success against a Chicago team, and then in that next cycle, that Chicago team is recruiting that player or that coach. But we were the only ones that player and or coach had success against. We'll put that out there. But, McCarthy, is he still in the communication level for this generation of players? Because we want to say it's the same game, but it's not. It's a softer, gentler game because we have a softer, gentler society and players that play it. The collegiate levels, how they come into the league. You know, you have to be able to communicate with that different generation. It's not all just grabbing a bat. I see you, D Nice, like Mr. Carter or Coach Carter, or was it what was his name?
HNIC, bro. I'm with you.
Well, yeah, the HNHC though. You know, so right, you like that? See that? You see what I did there? Right on. And then so you grab the bat and then you bang people in the side of the goddamn helmet in practice when they mess up.
You know what I would ask this dude right off the top, one of my first questions is, you got a proven offense, you got a proven system that you've been doing. They've been doing this for 30 years, man, running the same system. And this is why Green Bay is good down there all the time, because system continuity. And I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to people, but when you've been running the same system year in and year out with no disruption, and you're just constantly, you draft the quarterback every 7 to 10 years or so. You know what I mean? And then you sit him put him in the oven and let him cook, and let him, and you don't bring him out until he's ready. Mike McCarthy was a beneficiary of that. He basically he initiated, for the most part, what they were doing down there. I wouldn't say initiated, but he took it to the level it needed to go to, and they got a Super Bowl out of it with a good quarterback. But neither one of those quarterbacks, whether it was Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, came out of the chute like that. Like Aaron Rodgers used to play quarterback with the ball up to his ear. Now he throws the ball from the hip. You know what I mean? That's just the kind of quarterback work that's going on in Green Bay. I'm not trying to put down Mike McCarthy, but what I would say is, I would ask this guy, you know, how would you morph your offense and make it different compared to what it looked like in Dallas or in Green Bay? And how would it fit this quarterback? What things would you do different to really emphasize what you have in the quarterback? That's what I would ask.
Look, he said he's a safe pick, and I fully agree with that. I'm just gonna say some stuff here. The first one being, he has an intimate understanding of this division and how to dominate it. Did it for years, like for an extended period of time. Did he win a Super Bowl? Yes, he did. Been to the dance. Has the cachet. Man, like Mike McCarthy's a really good look at head coach for us. I'm not saying he's my favorite pick. I'm not sure if that's the truth, but I wouldn't be mad if it was him, because I know that he's got a vendetta against the Green Bay Packers. He's got a vendetta against the good old Vikings. Definitely has a vendetta against the Detroit Lions, who are running ruckshot over everybody in the division right now. We know that he knows how to do this. We know he knows how to put together a viable offense. Same token, his defenses haven't dropped off a cliff. Not in Green Bay, not in Dallas up until this season, and that was mostly due to injury, right? Like that's really what the Dallas situation was about. Good Lord, Cooper Rush looked pretty decent there for a couple of weeks too, didn't he? You know, I kind of got to admit that. Was it Trey Lance who looked good? No, but maybe that's just because of Trey Lance, right? You're like, I'm just going to throw that out there. But Cooper Rush, who nobody was expecting, kind of came out and looked pretty decent, throwing the rock under Mike McCarthy here, right? So for all intents and purposes, there really isn't an area that I would be worried about. And the one area that you brought up was just sort of relatability with the team. And I can get that, but that's where you actually hire an offensive coordinator who can be that guy and have that relatability with the team. You hire a defensive coordinator again who can be that guy and have that same level of relatability, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be Mike in that respect. He will command respect because he's been to the dance. He's done it. My guy's had more playoff appearances than the Chicago Bears organization has had in 40 years, single-handedly, and that's pretty crazy to say, right? So I don't really have any issues with this as an idea for the Bears. Wine him, dine him, pick his brain, but I think definitely he should be one of your top 5 candidates for this job.
All right, well let me go ahead and shift, because we got a little bit. I already know what Kedz is going to say, because Kedz has got a one-track mind when it comes to Green Bay coaches.
Well, I just finished talking about a Green Bay coach, and I said, let's do it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to say, don't do this one, though.
Right. Okay. But let me go ahead and preface. Let me go ahead and hedge my bet a little bit, because I did my homework on the guy. So head coach candidate Adam Stenovich these on the list. I don't know if he's been here or not, or he's done an interview or not. Any of that, I don't know. He's an O-line specialist. He's got the title of offensive coordinator in title only, because of course Matt LaFleur calls his own plays. Here's what I know that he could do well, and I noticed a few guys, and he's not the only one that's on this list that are offensive line kind of centric guys. It is clear and obvious that we need people inside this building that really know what they're doing on the offensive line. And Green Bay knows what they're doing on the offensive line. Well, they draft and they play guys, and they develop them and get them where they need to be. And this he's one of the pieces they have there. They have several coaches. And, I know everybody feels a certain way and really are creatures of the moment for the most part when it comes to Green Bay coaches because of what happened with Gedzi, and people feel a certain way about that. And I don't know, no more Green Bay coaches. I get all that. But in reality, you have to look at it in its totality. They have some really good coaches over there. And if you can get one or two of those guys that can come in and help you do what you need to do, then I don't think you, just because the fans say no more Green Bay coaches, I don't think you just shut that down. And so what I'm saying to you guys is he's really good on that offensive line and coaching and teaching and developing. I don't know that he's got any shot in hell at getting the head coaching job. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he doesn't. But I think that information gathering and seeing if this is a guy that they can maybe pull over and help them out with the offensive line, because he's good at it. I checked him out and I know it.
Their offensive line is pretty good, no?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're always getting hurt, and the next man up is just like filling in.
Well, hopefully this is just an espionage thing with good old Ryan Poles trying to figure out how come he can't put together a decent offensive line, and maybe you can learn from this guy who keeps, putting together a decent offensive line for Jordan Love year on year. That's being fielded, and it's working, and I don't know what the heck's going on here in Chicago. So, yeah, by all means, bring him in, have a conversation, figure out what he's doing, pick his brain. But if y'all hire him, I'm going to be so mad, because straight up and down, I'll be so mad. Like, if we're talking about a fresh fish rookie head coach, this ain't the one. I'm just saying. Like, I'm leaning way heavier towards Ben Johnson than this dude if we're talking fresh newness.
Yeah,
come on. You just can't go from. I mean, I get he's a former player, and he could possibly be a good head coach one day, but this seems like a lot fast. But the messed up part of the whole interview process is you can bring in former competitors and pick their brains about, hey, what kind of offense y'all running? What kind of defense y'all running? Hey, Mr. Stenovich, what makes you successful, and how the hell do you develop an offensive line? And then they're taking notes on this shit. And it's like, they got to tell them, because there's like, well, I kind of want the job, and I want to be honest, and I guess it's not rocket, surgery. So I find talented guys and put them in a position to succeed and develop, what they need developed. I don't know. And so it's like Ryan Poles is just like got a whole legal notepad or his technical typing, taking, this is how you're successful. So that's part of the aspect of why he's getting an interview. Okay. But then I will put this out there, because, these videos last forever. If Adam Stenovich is hired, if he wins Super Bowls, great fucking hire.
Don't rewind it to the part where I said don't hire him under any pretense. Just fast forward to the Triple R part where he says, awesome job. Well done, Bears.
So here's an uncomfortable truth, guys. There are teams out there, in fact, one that's slightly north of us, that are really good in the coaching department, really good at drafting, really good at development. And the truth is, they're in Green Bay. And if you really want to get to where you want to get to, sometimes you have to look at the enemy right in his face and say, you know what can you do to help us out? Give me some information. If I were to ask you what we can do to get better, what would you tell me? And that might be one of those interviews where, you know what I mean? If I'm looking at the draft, I might draft this guy because I think he's flexible. I think he's versatile. Talking about offensive line guys. And so to make sense of this interview, of course he's not going to get the head coaching job. Of course not. But I can understand the information gathering aspect of why to bring this guy in the building. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah. You got to do corporate espionage, man. You got to figure out who's who in the zoo and leverage that intel if you can. And I just got to throw this up. This one little comment by King Booker World. Shout out to you, King Booker. Because straight up, I think maybe that him and Luke Getzey, he's like the ghost of Luke Getzey, or maybe they're hatched out of the same pod. I don't know, but he looked like Luke Getzey. That's really all I'm trying to say.
He does get it. They all come out of there looking like that, man. I don't know what it is in Green Bay. They all look the fucking same to me, but that's another thing. Let me pull up the next guy, because this one I want to talk about a little bit. Head coach candidate David Shaw, currently senior personnel executive for the Denver Broncos. So basically, he was there to help design this season for Bo Nix and put him in a position to have a good first season. They made that turnaround and drafted the right people and put this, staff together, and the coach. I mean, everything behind that, he was helping doing all that. When I tell you this, I want people to understand why. David Shaw is so effing impressive. I want people to just, when they're done with this show, if you feel like doing it right now, go ahead and do it. Go to Wikipedia and Google David Shaw. I'm telling you, he's a head coach at Stanford for 11 years, comes from the Jim Harbaugh tree. I put Jim Harbaugh on there because it's the most relatable, name that people will really latch on to. But he's got history with John Gruden for about 5 years. When he was this dude really, he's a really good coach. And I'm talking about, I don't care what happens this offseason, who they hire. If it's not him, I want him in the building some way, somehow. He runs the West Coast offense. And the reason why I put Jim Harbaugh on this image is because I want people to understand what Jim Harbaugh does that people really, really relate to and why they like him. He plays bully football. And it's a West Coast scheme that really requires you to play a lot with 3 tight ends. And they like fullbacks. They love fullbacks, as a matter of fact. And what do you do with 3 tight ends? Most teams are 3 or 4-man front, right? If you got 3 tight ends on the field, along with 5 offensive linemen, you're going to have a chance to out-leverage your defensive front, right? And so your winning percentage on the front, and when you're trying to run the ball and really, gangster that clock management aspect of the game, that's where you can really, really excel. And so what I'm telling the fans are, check out David Shaw. When I'm telling you, one of my teammates got with me, I think somewhere around 2013, 2015, and was like, man, you check this cat out? And I was just like, no. He's like, this cat out there at Stanford, man. He said, man, they don't get the recruits that they need, but man, this dude, they just be dominating people up front with that offensive line and the way they run the ball. And it's true. And now we have a strong deficiency on the offensive line and running the ball right now, right? And so what do? You bring people in here that are really, really strong in that game plan. And so to me, in order for you to get Caleb to the next level, I think you have to design a game plan that really hides his deficiencies or shortcomings right now until he develops and they become his strengths. And so you bring in a guy that can really, really emphasize running the ball and controlling the clock, and you don't have to ask Caleb Williams to do a whole hell of a lot. I'm telling you guys, David Shaw is absolutely effing impressive. I'm telling you, if we hired this guy, I would be happy as a lark. I'm just telling you, he is really, really impressive. If you like Jim Harbaugh, you're going to love David Shaw.
Well, his resume is actually pretty interesting, and I will admit that I didn't pay a lot of attention to this particular candidate. His resume is actually kind of impressive. The downsides, there are downsides here, right? And the downsides have a lot more to do with, he hasn't been an OC in the NFL, right? I don't believe he's had play calling duties in the NFL. He clearly hasn't been a head coach in the NFL, but he does have some he's coached on both sides of the ball. Like there's some interesting little tidbits about David Shaw that do kind of make him like, man.
He's coached under great coaches. He's been with the Ravens. He's been with the Eagles. He's been with let me make sure. I think the Ravens, the Eagles,
Raiders. He was with John Gruden. He's
Raiders, Eagles, and the Ravens. Right.
Been in Philadelphia, San Diego. Like that's and Denver. And Denver.
Great.
He does. He actually has a very interesting resume if you look at it. And what jumped out to me again is the fact that he has coached on both sides of the ball. He's a linebackers coach for quite some time, then a tight end coach, and did a fair amount more on the offensive side. Wide receivers coach in Baltimore for a while. You know what I mean? So passing game coordinator in San Diego. He's been on both sides. It's kind of interesting in that respect. Now, for me, like
he's
this
a program builder is what he is, kids. He's a great program builder. He would come in here and get this shit in order and get it to where it needs to go. And knowing that you have to get it right in the trenches, he would emphasize that. That's what we've been looking for. To me, right now, this feels like a very Bearsy pick. Like if his agent is Trace Armstrong, I'll go through a couple $100 on bet MGM right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm being realistic. Now, me saying that it's very Bearsy might not be a bad thing. Maybe this time it works. Again, he has some interest. Like his track record is kind of interesting. He has experience on both sides of the ball, whereas under normal pretenses, we're like, okay, this guy's an OC. He's going to leave the DC to somebody else. Like somebody else is going to handle the whole defensive side, and it's hands off, or vice versa. He's a DC, hands off on the OC. I don't know what to do. Well, this guy kind of has some stroke on both sides of the ball. Maybe it might be the Bearsy thing to do, but perhaps it might actually work out with this guy. Also, kids, I want to mention this dude has all kinds of cachet. And so whoever they hire as the the head coach, you got to have the cachet to bring really, really, really good coaches along with you. And he has that cachet. He's got nothing but – you won't find anybody to say a one bad thing about David Shaw. David Shaw not only knows what he's doing, he can bring people with him. And like a couple of cycles ago, he was in that conversation. He turned down jobs. He turned down head coaching jobs.
Well, there's a reason that he is respected is because he's paid his dues. You know, he's come up through the ranks over, his entire career, different organizations, different positions. He's been there, done that, as far as I'm not picking on Ben Johnson, but a younger, first time head coach candidate. Whereas Johnson, came up, he did his thing. He's the offensive coordinator. Now he's head coach candidate. Just year-wise, as far as maturity, development in the league, understanding how things work and building those connections with other coaches and front offices, what have you. Shaw looks like he could be a very prestigious front office person. I don't know about his actual coaching because, he's been away from it for a minute and he was out there at Stanford and those games came on like hella late at night. And so, like I didn't really see a lot of them. And I know that, so I don't know. But he seems to have the respect, as Nomad was saying, around the league. And he wouldn't be a horrible person unless he lost. And then he would suck. But if he was hired and he won, then he would be an awesome hire.
All right, let me back up on the word cachet.
Before you go, kids, I want to mention he excelled at a school that's known for academics and not football. And they might have had a good volleyball team, maybe a baseball team, decent football team, but not something. And so he was gonna lose eventually and he was there, I think. I think he got out of there right as the transfer portal became really a thing. And you know what I mean? He left that thing because NIL was coming in and the transfer portal was messing everything up. And he was never going to compete with the elite teams in the NCAA because he wasn't going to be able to get the recruits of Georgia, Alabama, LSU and things like that. And
Oregon,
so, yeah,
USC.
what he was able to do with that program, I'm telling you have to watch. I've watched this guy build that program, and I'm telling you what they do is, I'm telling you, outstanding shit. Outstanding.
So I just want to, all right. So like we're just gonna say he's well respected and save the word cachet for folks who've been to the dance. And that's really what when I say it, it's funny because I said it a couple weeks ago. French word. Like I'm from Canada.
Cachet.
Straight up.
Cachet.
I'm hearing cachet everywhere. I was on CHGO. Greg Bragg's talking cachet. Everybody talking cachet. But when I'm saying it, I strictly mean you've been to the Super Bowl and or won the Super Bowl. That's what I mean. Anything outside of that, you're well respected. And I'll give it up to this guy. He's been all over the NFL. He's been all over the college ranks. He's done well in college, like he has. Head coach there for quite some time at Stanford. And when I say quite some time, I'm talking like 10 years. Like he was there for a minute. He's very well respected in football circles. Again, coming out in 2022, and that's when he left Stanford. The benefit of that is that, right, leaving at that time, you still sort of know who's coming in and out, right?
How about this? How about this? You got a pro-ready Andrew Luck because of David Shaw. Yeah. You got a pro-ready Andrew Luck because of David Shaw.
All right.
Just saying.
Look at his marinating on it. He's laying up in his warm maple syrup, marinating in it. Look at it.
I same token, like he's been a quarterback's coach here in the NFL too, and we didn't get anything looking even remotely close to Andrew Luck.
He hasn't been a head coach in the league. He's been an assistant.
I said he was a quarterback's coach, as in he was working with quarterbacks in the NFL. Right?
And he had good seasons. I remember, I think he was receivers coach in Baltimore at one time. I think he was a quarterback's coach.
Baltimore,
maybe at Philly. Philly or Baltimore, one of them. So I had to mention that, man. It's like Andrew Luck gives this guy all the praise in the world. And he said that I can remember him mentioning there's no way he could have been ready for that first season in the NFL without the tutoring of David Shaw. And so that I seen that a long time ago. And I just remembered that. You know what I mean? So David Shaw, I mean, when I say he's got cachet, there's more to it than just what's on the surface. He's got a lot to him, man.
Well, cachet means Super Bowls.
That's what I'm trying to say. Save that word.
Y'all put it in that category.
Save that word.
Well, no, that's what the cachet means. That's the ultimate. You have the cachet. You've got the resume.
You cachet, in other words, it's levels to cachet. All
right. David Shaw, he's paid his dues. You know, he's well respected.
He's
respected.
But
right. when that's not cachet. That's not that level.
When you're coming in
on the streets, we would say he's got bodies, huh?
When you're coming in, no, like it's like his homie got the bodies, but he's down with the homies. But I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying that when a Super Bowl winning and or visiting head coach comes in the door, instant respect because you know he's been there and done it. Unfortunately, for any of these new guys, they don't have that. You know what I mean? Like if you're coming in without that, you don't have that. You might be respected by Andy Reid, might love you. Jim Harbaugh might love you, but that doesn't mean that locker room's automatically going to love you because unfortunately, there's no proof to this pudding, right? And that's just for the and that goes across the board for all of the for Ben Johnson too. You know what I mean? He falls in the same boat. It's just those guys who haven't had the opportunity to be a head coach yet and or make it to the dance. If you've been a head coach like Mike Vrabel and haven't made it to the dance, a little bit less cachet. Hence the reason why he's a disciplinarian, because he has to instill respect as opposed to that respect just being given to you because you're there and you've been there.
All right, but we'll leave the conversation right here because I just had to make sure.
I like this candidate though, Nomad. Like I now that I'm a little bit more familiar with his background, I'd be much angrier over many other like the last homie, but like maybe David Shaw. David Shaw does feel kind of Bearsy. He would take Bears money, and I think it would go a long way. But my thoughts is he might have influence on both sides of the ball, which is something we haven't had really in God knows how long.
Dude's got an eye for trench players, man. He really does, man. And he's good. He's good, really, really good with quarterbacks. And that's just kind of like if you had to define, certain traits in a coach and say, I hope he's really good at this and that. Those would be the two things you would probably point out and be like, man, I hope he's really good at finding offensive linemen. We need to get the offensive line right. Plus, we got
the coach doesn't find offensive linemen. The coach coaches offensive linemen. The general manager finds offensive linemen.
Like the reason why I put that on David Shaw, because he recruited the right people. Stanford's turned out really good offensive linemen for years.
Well, yeah, that's college. That's what they recruit offensive linemen. Yeah, but his role would not be that same thing here in the league as head coach. That would be the general manager.
He'd have some say so on who they drafted for sure. That's what I'm getting at, is how to identify the really good guys that can really help you in your program. That's what I'm getting at. Not that that would be his responsibility, but he would have a say in that, in those selections, And that's why I want him in this building, whether it's head coach or somebody in the front office. I don't give a damn, but I know this guy knows what he does, what he's doing in the trenches.
Well, now let me ask you this: if now compare David Shaw to Ben Johnson. David Shaw's coming in as head coach. He says, just say it's the Bears. Hey, Ryan Poles, we need 4 new offensive linemen. This is what I'm looking for. He can list those characteristics, those traits, because he's been in those trenches for that long. What is Ben Johnson's knowledge of offensive linemen and traits that he would require for his offense? Do you think he would still have that same level of knowledge, or would Johnson be like, well, I don't know, just give me some fucking guys that can block? That's an interesting question, because I don't know. I believe they do have a really good offensive line coach in Detroit. Now, the dynamics on how that plays out, I can look at Ben Johnson's personality and saying and tell you 100%. He's not forceful in that conversation when they're in that room saying, hey, I want this. He's not a forceful person when it comes to that. He's just not built like that. But, I don't know. That's a good question, Trips. And next time we talk, I plan on having a better answer for you than what I just gave you, man, because I'll check it out. That's what I do. I'm a thought provoker. Appreciate it. Let's talk about something else, man, because this was a conversation piece. I don't know if y'all been checking it out, but
before you start this though, I just like the world to acknowledge who brought this up last week. Okay, continue.
Oh, careful, kids! You gonna throw out your shoulder, pat yourself on the back.
Dumb then and it's dumb now. Shit, I don't know the hell you gonna get better at getting rid of really good players. And that's some bullshit. But
y'all cussed me out. Everybody got cussed out in the chat. Nobody's trying to hear nothing. Nobody's trying to hear it.
So reports are that there are reports out that the Bears may be willing to trade DJ Moore. And let me say, I'm not gonna take all the air out the room before I pass to these guys, but I'm gonna say this right now. It's some dumb shit. That's some dumb shit. I don't know who put it out there, but they put it out there to be willing to trade DJ Moore under these circumstances. I'm gonna save the rest of the comments, but that's some stupid shit right there. But go ahead, guys.
Well, I will keep this somewhat short and sweet because I already addressed this last week. But I did watch a little interview with a certain quarterback, and he was asked today who his favorite wide receivers that he's ever played with were, or who were the best wide receivers he's played with. I'm just going to tell you that number 2 was not listed. Neither was a certain 9th draft pick, but number 2.
Let's try to say that part of the conversation.
Hey, that's where it's going to end. Sure.
DJ is a beast. With the ball in his hands, he's tough. He doesn't miss games because of injury. He plays through shit. There are times, of course, where you see that he can not be the utmost team guy where it's like, oh, he kind of twisted his ankle. He's not catching that ball, so he's not finishing that route. He's just going to run onto the bench. It's like his giving forth full effort wasn't going to change the result of that play. So I get it. He's a family man. So he's not like an issue off the field that would cause or promote any kind of negativity. He just kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. And when he's upset or if he's disappointed or frustrated, you're going to know because you're going to look at him and go, yeah, that dude's not happy. But then he can process it after the game. It's like, yeah, I wasn't happy because legitimate reasons, no excuses. We were losing. That pisses me off because I love this game and I want to win. And this is frustrating. Yes, I want to catch balls and I want to break records, but I don't care who does it as long as we win is the attitude that I get from DJ. And that not happening is frustrating, but it also just does not look like we were talking about, I forget what show, but, DJ and Caleb were on the same page. We could see a little bit of a connection with Grandpa Allen. We could see a little bit of a burgeoning connection with Odunzi. Komet, no, there's nothing there. But DJ is like, well, how come we can't get the ball into DJ's hands? And so by the time, the last game of the season came around, Green Bay, we got DJ just running wide receiver screens and end arounds just to get him the ball because we can't seem to get him the ball in the aerial attack. So that could be a reason for a little friction between, number 2 and number 18. That's just some shit that they got to work out in the offseason because DJ just signed a new contract. We got him under a good deal. He's a nice age, and he works hard as hell. So I just would hate to lose him as a player. I haven't seen anything that says, selfish or me or diva quality. It's just the frustrating of losing. And I like that quality in him.
Trips, that man is fresh off his best season ever as a pro. And, he played his ass off and the connection was there. And I think you definitely dialed it in on the connectivity part of it. And the last time we were talking about it, and I was talking about how they need to get on the same Wi-Fi because they're on 2 different networks right now. And to me, it sounds like this is a wimpy ass. That's wimpy to me talking about, okay, we need to get rid of DJ Moore because he's not connecting with Caleb. Well, get the goddamn connecting then. What the fuck you mean they can't connect? Get your ass somewhere and start working. And they don't connect until you start working. But you don't just get rid of a player in his prime, a receiver like that, because he's not connecting with the man. Kiss my ass. Kiss my black ass. Get the connecting. Get on the same goddamn Wi-Fi. That's what you gotta do.
Anybody's ass. I'll tell you that much. But at the same time, I don't like. I like DJ Moore. Like I'm not trying to run him out of town. I was just stating the obvious. I said, don't be surprised if this is what happens, right? So I don't see the connection. Sometimes you're plugging the wrong cable in and expecting it to work by way of connection. Like maybe this cable is just the wrong cable and you need to change things up. How that conversation started was because Ryan Poles decided to pay this man early instead of trying to figure out whether they had a connection first before he put money in his pocket. And that's why I was, again, a little bit upset with that guy as per normal. But here we are, and I wouldn't be mad if they gained some capital off of DJ Moore. When my guy scrolls in the chat, I had to straight up say, look, like he hasn't been to the Pro Bowl. Like, what are you going to get from maybe a 2? And I kind of have to agree with that. Maybe a 2. I'm hoping for 2 2s at the least, because if you recall that big trade with the Panthers, he's potentially a first-round pick in that trade. So you got to get something commensurate there. 2 2s to me makes sense. A 2 and a 3 makes sense. If you're just giving up, if you're getting a 2, you're getting fleeced, in my opinion. You just keep the guy. So I don't know what you do here, but they need capital. They got a lot of holes to fill, And I'm not so sure that these two guys really see eye to eye as far as being teammates. So
Don't even matter. That's dumb as dog shit. That is dumb as dog shit. No, you make it work. The only way it works is if you work at it. You have to, like Caleb Williams is somewhere right now. We're gonna talk about this in a minute. Whatever he's doing right now with himself, and I know DJ probably somewhere Disneyland or Disney World with his kids. But as soon as that shit's over, get the motherfucking work. That's how you make it work. It's not because, just because he's not connecting with Caleb Williams right now. Caleb Williams is 20-something years old, 22, 23 years old, however old he is, and doesn't really know what he needs. And he's got a great supporting system around him as far as some of these receivers. And nobody's going to sit here and tell me because he's not connecting with Caleb Williams the right way and he can't connect with him downfield that can't work. It can fucking work. You just got to fucking work on it. It's just reps.
So you don't. I hear you. I'm just going to ask a very obvious question. So over the course of 18 games, you don't think they got a bunch of reps in?
Dude, I don't know how much time they were spending with each other.
Well, not enough.
Obviously.
No. All right.
And that's what it takes.
Well, because it wasn't like there was a coach telling them to go out there and work because they weren't being coached at all.
Well, there's practices every week. There's live games where we can see.
Yeah, and like Cole Kmet saying in practices, people are half-assed and ain't nobody correcting them. Ain't nobody making nobody go all out. Ain't nobody holding anybody accountable, for their lackluster practice or play in the game.
You know where I am with this. I want this to work. So don't catch me sideways on this, right? Like I want this to work. I love DJ. I think he's an amazing wide receiver. More importantly, we're both Jamaican, and just to let y'all know, Jamaicans in body language ain't all that. We're not friends. All right, just put that we kiss our teeth, and it's like when we're angry, we kiss our teeth. So obvious. What's wrong? Every time I kiss my teeth, my wife's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And then I have to explain what little thing is wrong to her because she knows. We are so obvious with our body language. It's terrible. I'll give you a little stupid story. I was in a spelling bee and I was like the top 2 kids in school, and I'm in front of the whole school, but I got to sit down and wait for the first person to spell. And my daddy comes over and he goes, "Hey man, just be cool, relax, slouch, just relax on your chair and be cool. Get prepared and go do your thing." And then my teacher, the principal at this point, actually comes over. She's like, "What are you doing? Why are you slouching? Why are you relaxed? No, sit up straight." So like half my body is slouched and the other, like I'm trying to figure out how to manage these two situations. In the end, I win the spelling bee. But the downside is I get off. My dad is like, "Why were you sitting up so straight? I told you to relax." Now I got to explain to my daddy that the principal, you know what I mean? Anyways, we ain't good with it. DJ ain't good with it. We're probably going to see a whole lot more of it. I just hope these two guys can get connected in the end. I don't know if they can, and it might be a good time for Ryan Poles to get capital out of them. So let's just put it out there.
That is just crazy, man, because
you got to get capital from somewhere.
I mean, you're basically telling me that basically here were the shortcomings that kind of frustrated DJ. He came off a season where they were attacking with him down the field, attacking very accurately down the field with Justin Fields. And all of a sudden, we get this rookie quarterback, and he can't be accurate down the field with him. And I know this, that in the offseason when they signed DJ Moore, the first thing Justin Fields did was get on the phone and get DJ Moore to wherever he was at in Florida, and they started working out right away and start trying to develop a chemistry. I didn't hear that about Caleb Williams. I'm not saying that the two of them didn't do anything. I haven't heard about it, Trips. And so what I'm saying to you is it's easy to find that connection. All you have to do is just call them out and say, "Hey man, I need us to work together. We need to work a lot, and we're gonna have to get better for the next season. We just got to get those reps in." It's just that simple. It's just that simple.
Well, yeah, but a lot of that simplicity comes from a coach getting in their ear saying, "Hey, we need to, do all that stuff you just mentioned." And that starts now. There was no Shane Waldron or Matt Eberflus holding anybody to accountability or making those simple coaching, suggestions or doing their fucking jobs. So you get, a rookie coming in just kind of feeling his way. You get veterans, they're obviously trying to help him because him being better helps them, but it's not their job to coach Caleb Williams or to, make him better. Their job is to be like, hey, we're available. We want you to make us better, therefore, in turn, making you better. They look at it from their perspective, and that makes everybody better. The team becomes better. There was nobody out there doing that or portraying that mentality out there. So we have to obviously make decisions. And if the decision comes down to trade DJ Moore, or if there is an issue that we don't know about that is bringing him up in trade discussions because that rift is just that bad between the two, then it's like, yeah, you got to trade him. You got to get the resources you can because we're more concerned about development of the quarterback position, which is right now filled by Caleb Williams. And it's like, DJ's an awesome receiver, but it's easier to replace a wide receiver than a quarterback. So Williams win in this situation.
We already have the replacements, and this is Crimson. Shout out to you. I'm gonna read Crimson's little comment here. How is capital gonna work? The best players on the team are either free agents or acquisitions or trades.
He just gave you a straight line to Ryan Poles. Go ahead.
He did. Well, I wasn't really going to Ryan Poles at all. And holdovers from the previous regime. Poles hasn't picked or developed yet, right? So what he's really saying is that we haven't developed a wide receiver to take over this particular role, and you can't necessarily count on Ryan Poles to draft a wide receiver to take over that role. Well, I will give him good old Rome Odunze. I think Rome Odunze will fill that role, especially not as a WR3. If he's not set up as WR3 and we put whoever else is at, DeAndre Carter, Tyler Scott, let that guy be the WR3. We sign Keenan Allen, you keep Keenan Allen. He's clearly your WR1, or at least that was really the role that he played in the slot this season. There's ways to make that work, right? So now you got some capital and you can spend that on fixing the offensive line as well as the defensive line. That's why I don't find it super crazy, except for how much DJ's contract is. Mind you, like a team, there's teams out there who are wide receiver thirsty, So
I'm gonna say this, man, and we're gonna get to this next topic because this is one of those things that I'm trying to get this in sequence because we talked about this before, but I brought it up again, and the topic is questions about Caleb Williams' work ethic have come to surface. And I'm going to put up this graphic right here just to show you exactly. And I know it doesn't really represent Caleb exactly the right way in his image, but they were kind of joning him. If you watch this podcast, they were Amon Ra was kind of joning him, kind of calling him fat. And they was messing with him like, hey, man, what's your secret, your food thing? What's your secret crush with that? And he said cookies. And Caleb he's a little bit chunky, and he explained himself on that podcast, but that's just showing you the image. But let's get back to the work ethic part of it. And I believe 100%, and I started to get where I'm going with this conversation, I think somewhere late in my junior year in high school on into my senior year. And I didn't really get it in earnest until I got into college, Kedz and Trips. And I realized once I got to college that we had a quarterback and a receiver that we held over because we had a turnover on that roster. We had new coaches, knew everything in that team. Everybody was recruited into that situation. They won a championship without me because I left my first year. But along in that first year, while we was building that connection, I can remember the quarterback and the best receiver that we had on the team. They was getting into it like literally we would be out somewhere. And these motherfuckers would get into it, like really like physically get into it. And the receiver used to dog him. He's like, motherfucker, you can't throw the ball. You can't throw, you shitty. And they like, motherfucker, you need to learn how to run routes and all that back and forth shit that was going on between them. I got in the middle of it because no, I'm a DB on the team, right? But I'm taking reps on the offensive side of the ball as well. And so I'm running routes with the quarterbacks and receivers. I'm doing all that shit. So what I did was I got them two motherfuckers together on Sundays. On Sundays when we weren't supposed to be doing shit, I got them two motherfuckers together, and then we started running routes and throwing balls and doing all that kind of stuff. And the connectivity started to happen. So what I'm telling you about Caleb Williams and the DJ Moore story and Caleb Williams' work ethic is I'm saying it can be done. You just have to be willing to put in the time. And so I'll leave that there and let you guys just take off from there. But his work ethic has come into question.
Well, the cookie conversation, I didn't take it the way that you took it.
We'll save that for the podcast conversation. Let's talk about his work ethic.
I can't because I have no evidence of this, right? Like I have no evidence of it. I don't know whether he's coming in. Like, it's funny, some time ago we drafted Justin Fields, and the big thing was like, he's not the first guy in the door or the last guy to stay late. He's not that guy. That's not Justin. And all we've seen is pure evidence of that being the case. My guy was in there early. He was there late. He's working out. He's doing his own thing. He's working out with Mooney. I don't really have any evidence to the contrary or to support whether Caleb Williams' work ethic is or should be in question. So I can't even speak to that. Trip, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he put in the work to get to this position. But is he continuing the physical work on his body, his mind? I don't know because I'm not there. But I can tell you this. Out of the off-season pictures and videos that we saw of Caleb Williams hanging out and talking to and having dinner with and gleaning from Tom Brady, Tom Brady don't allow himself to eat any cookies. He doesn't have anything enter his body, his temple, that is going to be detrimental or giving him any kind of flabby. And cookies would give you flabby. I know because right in the kitchen now, I got some nice pecans and some walnuts and some semi-sweet chocolate chips. And I even got some of those peanut butter drops. And there's going to be some cookie making going on tonight. Believe that shit. And then I'm going to have some like custom like size, like some little bitty ones, like just little, boop, 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 little bitty cookies. And then make those big ones like they be making at the bar shops, like at 2 a.m. for all the drunk kids. And they be like this size and they be like the big cookies. I'm going to make all that good shit. But as far as that goes, and one final thing about this, the part of the St. Brown podcast that I saw, I get that Caleb was just kind of in the bed, but where he had his camera, I don't like that position and looking up at him like my head is laying on his belly.
Well, let me get on over there.
Not a good look.
We're headed there, and there ain't no getting around it. So I ain't mean to interrupt you, but I'm trying to set the show up so I can cut some shorts. But what Trip is getting at is the St. Brown podcast. The St. Brown brothers have a great podcast, and I think Amon Ra is an asshole, but in a good way. He's a truth teller is what he is, but he says he gets out of you what he wants to hear and gets the questions off, and actually he'll ask somebody a question and kind of give them a statement in a way and be telling them the truth, but in a sarcastic way so that person can't detect that I'm talking shit about you. You know what I mean? He basically called Caleb fat. He basically called Caleb trash, and I told Ben Johnson, you trash, and don't go to Chicago because Caleb Williams is trash. He got all. I don't know if y'all seen that way, but I'm telling you, I saw right through Amon Ra St. Brown. I watch this shit all the time. And he
man, you saw that. You read that whole thing backwards. I think you got a real hate on for Caleb now. No.
You got to watch the shit.
I watched it.
I got no hate for Caleb Williams.
Okay, perfect.
He was clowning Caleb Williams, man.
He was, and let me just give you a little bit of background. So first things first, background on the St. Brown boys. Their dad is like a crazy narcissist bodybuilder who went to Germany and found a special type of woman to marry so that he would have like crazy athletic offspring. Like he like planned this shit out years ago. I watched a documentary on the dad before these kids were ever even like anywhere near the NFL. For them to be in the NFL to this day, for me personally, is kind of crazy. So they've been brought up like this I would be surprised if they eat any carbs at all. Like their upbringing's been a little bit different. Now, yes, Amon-Ra was clowning him, saying that he asked him like how much does he weigh, and he was kind of clowning him, saying that he was not how much did he weigh, but like what's your I think it was like what's your BMI, I think was what he was asking. But again, Amon-Ra is like 5'9", and this is what Caleb was saying. He was like, bro, you're a tiny little guy, and he is.
Hey, kids, you see how they was asking him about his fat ratio and how much your percentage?
Yeah,
and don't nobody know about bipods. When you playing, at least when you get to college, this is high school stuff they have bipods now, but colleges, at least you're going to get into a bipod and it's going to determine what kind of body fat you got on you. I think Caleb said he was, I don't know, it was over 10%.
I don't think he answered the question. I think he just turned it back and said, hey, like, but bro, you're 5'9", so like you're obviously you're gonna weigh less than me. You're gonna be you're a wide receiver, bro. You know what I mean? You're gonna be smaller across the board, and he is, and that's fun. It's got like,
and like Smitty Q was saying there, I don't necessarily want my core to be the workout warrior. You know, understandable. Like what's his Mahomie down there in Kansas City with the chefs. You know he's got that dad bod, extra kind of poundage on him. So when they do get sacked, they have that extra padding. It's not like they're out there running those, sprints like wide receivers every play.
Minister said 11%. Now, if you know 11%, you slightly chunky for a football player.
Bro, that's we're comparing wide receivers who are running top speed all day long at 5'9". To a 6'1" quarterback. Like, it's a guy
who's standing back in a pocket, just completely.
It's apples and oranges. You can't really even make that comparison and have it stick to the wall, right?
I mean, if you put on they have the technology nowadays and the shoulder pads or the helmet that tracks how fast, how far, that athlete's running. If you were to do a census of quarterbacks versus wide receivers, the wide receivers are putting in miles, between practicing games, and the quarterbacks maybe a couple 100 feet, unless you're Lamar Jackson or Daniels that's running a lot.
So let me get to the cookies. So he asked him right after this thing being a jerk, what kind of cookie is your favorite cookie? And he said, oh, anything but chocolate chip. And everybody's like, what the hell? So Triple R, you got to get one of these days. You got to have some Kedz cookies, man. My cookies are the bomb. My chocolate chip cookies are the shit. I'll just let you know. One of these days, forget Oreos.
Stop eating all that sweet ass sugar.
Get Oreos, eat Kedz cookies, Dave.
What's here? Here's how you do it. Instead of using like your white granulated sugar, you use alternative.
Brown and dark. You win it. I got the
alternative sweeteners.
Bro, it's dope.
You can use your stevias. You can use the brown sugars. You can use maple, honey, any other kind of sweetener to sweeten it without the sugar. So you can have enjoyable foods that aren't necessarily bad for you and gonna, just make you a total fatty. Like, like if you just ate cookies from the store and you got a pack of cookies and you start eating them shits, yeah, you're going to have like several spare tires. But it's like, hey, let me go in this, they all got kitchens with islands and all the fancy dishware and shit. And I see the commercials with Deontay Adams' house. I know how they all living. They got Taco Bells in the crib and shit. So they can go in there and they can get the alternative health food substitutes, and they can contact their chefs, and their agents have their, body people and all the people that do that shit on the body is, hey, what can I use to do this? Because I love cookies and I don't want to give up cookies. Well, you can make cookies with blah, 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 and it tastes just like Kedz, the Canucks.
So, hey, Tris, hold on. Before you go, Kedz, let me ask you this. Now, when I'm very analytical when it comes down to trying to put two and two together. Now, the St. Brown brothers, you got to understand, EQ was here for 3 years. Number one, he still has connections with people in that locker room. Number one. Number two, he knows his brother ain't scared to say shit to him, to anybody, but he knows that his brother knows how to ask certain questions to the guests. And so, is it possible that they both in NFL circles, just like anywhere else, when you play football, people know about each other? I learned that when I was in high school. Off into college. Hold on, before you start, let me finish this.
College together. There's all the we know each other.
Let me finish this. Could it be possible that they've heard shit about Caleb Williams before this podcast, and this was their way to confront him? About, man, I heard you trash. I heard that you fat and you like to eat cookies and you don't work too much. And this is their way of asking him. Could EQ have heard that shit and put it on his brother to ask about it? Is that possible?
Well, he got his own mic. Why can't he ask it himself?
Because he is going. The guy got information. I'm thinking he got information.
Well, so you saying EQ don't have the balls enough to open his own mouth and ask his own stuff?
I ain't saying that. I'm saying he put it on his brother because his brother is more bold. Look at that hair.
No. So the only reason I'm saying no is because, and I didn't know this until after. Amon-Ra went to USC, bro. So they have a relationship between Caleb and Amon-Ra. There's actually a relationship there, and so little background for the world. So I didn't even realize that this had popped off. Nomad hollers at me earlier today. He's like, "Kedz, you need to watch this. We will talk about it." So I jumped on, I watched it, and my first question to Nomad was like, "Why the heck would Caleb Williams even do this show? Like, who gives a rat's ass about the competition? You don't need, you know what I mean? You don't need no stroke. He might be going to the dance this year. You don't need to give him anything more than what he's already got." Same thing with EQ. He's not a bear anymore, so who cares? Why even do this show? Facts is, those two guys know each other, and they actually delved. That's where the whole catfish conversation came from. He actually reached out to Amon-Ra, right? He reached out to him and said, "Hey, bro, what's Ben Johnson's number? Because this guy's catfishing and saying he's Ben Johnson. I'm thinking this is Ben Johnson's number. What's his number?" And Amon-Ra ghosted the call. He didn't return the call, and so he had to apologize for it. They're linked up, those two. So like the other aspect of all of this is just simply that because they have some level of a relationship with each other, he felt that he could be a little bit flippant and crack jokes and be a little bit offhanded, and that's cool and fine. I don't think it was an espionage thing where EQ had to go back to the Bears where he just left and probably doesn't want to talk to at all. You know what I mean? He didn't go back there and get information to then feed it to his brother to then kind of, kibosh, corner Caleb with it. This was actually just fun and playful stuff because Amon-Ra and Caleb actually have a relationship.
Even beyond that college relationship, I mean, the NFL is a brotherhood. I mean, It's a very small, inclusive league. So, I mean, they're going to have their relationships just because they're in the NFL beyond college. And a shout out to D Nice, who also said that you can make your own chocolate, with less sugar. So, you need to do what you need to do to enjoy them cookies.
I will not let this conversation go without. I got a couple things to say here, but I'm telling you right now, I just got a good eye for this shit, and I'm telling you, they were clowning Caleb Williams. They had a good time doing the podcast because, like you said, man, it's a brotherhood, and they all going through similar stuff, if not the same thing. But they're competitors, and they're competitive with each other. You know what I mean? And the truth is, Amon-Ra, I'm telling you, you got to watch more podcasts than this one to get how Amon-Ra is. Amon-Ra is made, and he's the most sarcastic motherfucker you can ever imagine. And he'll say shit to you. And they were saying shit to Caleb Williams that was just like, oh, dog.
Yeah, he got that dry, ironic humor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but in a straightforward way, he's saying saying shit to you with a smile on his face and meaning it, but it's coming off like he's being sarcastic. and he
Right.
was roasting Caleb. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, I mean, it's earned. I mean, his team's playing, still in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They chilling. He dyeing his hair and shit. It's like, hey, Caleb, with your fat ass eating cookies. What's up with painting your nails? And what kind of coach y'all want since y'all ain't got no coach? You know what I mean? They earned it. EQ is obviously just there because his last name is St. Brown. So, hey, St. Brown's is trying to be the new Shay Shay and Ocho Cinco. I don't know. That they're the new place to be on the pod circuit.
Caleb got his too, man. Caleb got his too, and one of the best parts wasn't with Amon-Ra, it was actually with EQ, and Caleb basically said he was John. What was his name? John Jackson. He was like, he's like, John Jackson is your disciple. And I had to laugh because, oh man, John Jackson just getting a paycheck. He's out there getting a paycheck. He ain't really doing nothing. And I guess that kind of is the same thing as EQ. It was actually pretty funny. He also told Amon-Ra that his hair ain't even the right blue. It's like, what does he say? I think he called it turquoise or so. It was Tiffany blue. What he said, Tiffany blue instead of Honolulu blue clowning. So like they had their back and forth. The other cookie thing I wanted to get to before we get off all this is like, Trips, what's a snickerdoodle, bud? Do you know what a snickerdoodle is?
I'm not a fan.
What is it? I don't even know what it is. Do you know what it is?
It's a kind of cookie, a type of cookie. It has nothing to do with the Snickers, like the candy bar.
Okay.
I mean, it's. I don't like.
Chat, let me know what the hell a snickerdoodle is, because I don't know.
Yeah,
man, there's so many images of a snickerdoodle, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's very bland, very gray, kind of boring.
I guess I can Google it. You're right.
It's like the shit that they make for the potlucks, like at the job, and it's from the suburbs. Always people who live in the suburbs bring the snickerdoodles and shit, and it's like, go on, bring some turtle clusters, or some chocolate chip cookies with the walnuts, but it's like people get allergies and shit. Can't have no nuts no more. Just can't have nothing. Damn.
Pause.
It's just like a.
He said can't have no nuts no more.
There's a couple of pauses in this episode of the show too. It was actually very well timed. It's just like a sugar cookie, basically. It's like the most regular ass cookie. So he likes just cookies without the chocolate chips, which is super weird.
Well, that comes from him growing up. I think when I say suburbs, that's code for white people.
I live in the suburbs now.
No flavor, no seasonings, no sugar, no jazz to their food. None of that shit. They be like, "What is this?" White people
don't learn how to cook now. White people don't learn how to cook now. Trip, you tripping? They learn that.
Well, yeah, because of the videos from us.
Because of the videos.
They didn't know what Lowry's season
They're watching Sports Chicago style chef tripping, man.
Hey, don't get Crimson talking. That's a Southern boy who knows some white folks that can cook now.
Well, I mean, there's a few. Yeah. It's like the chick that used the N word from the South. That put the grease and everything. Laura Dean, Laura Dean.
She makes some. I heard she makes some bomb fried chicken.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because she put that Crisco and that lard and that butter all up in there. She knows what she doing. She get her ghetto pass. I'm not saying she can say the N word, but she get the ghetto pass for cooking.
Pass revolt.
I just happen to have lived in Georgia and meandered around the mid to South Georgia region a lot, and I'm telling you, it's some. I'm telling you, you find a old white woman up in one of them restaurants with that big baggy arm, with them big baggy arms,
with the watermelon hanging out the sleeve.
Yeah, hey, she put her foot in that motherfucker. I'm telling you right now,
because that ain't no but decent cholesterol from the years of the fried foods and the buttermilk and the heavy lard.
I'm telling you, boy, she been doing that shit, man, and she's like, I'm telling you,
don't look at those cankles. If you went to cankles, don't look at them cankles because you will not be able to stop. You will propose right there.
Man.
Ooh, and now they know how to cook, with the green beans, and you get that bacon, you fry up that bacon and put in that green beans and with the taters, you add a little more grease to that just because. You know what I mean? And the potatoes and the cornbreads and all that floury shit.
I went down. I was down in Warner Robins, Georgia. I'll never forget. Let me pull this down for a minute. I was down in Warner Robins, Georgia, and I was working doing emergency response one time. And emergency response, not the ambulance. I'm talking about doing disaster relief. And we were basically we had to take care of a company that had static, basically a dust static problem, and we had to come in there. And EPA standards means that you had to do certain things, and we had to clear that place out for about like 3-4 days. We had to shut the place down and go work. And anyway, in that process, we was going out and we was just finding little restaurants in Warner Robins, Georgia, that we liked. We was just trying not to go to your regular, your Zaxby's and your Chick-fil-A and all Burger King. We was just trying not to go to the name brand shit and just trying to find the local spots that had some good ass food. And one time, I went up in a motherfucking place where they were serving you goddamn iced tea in a goddamn mason jar, like straight up, like they just grabbed a jar of Miracle Whip, tore the paper off that motherfucker, and put some iced tea in that shit.
Oh,
and
they fucking around.
Potatoes was lumpy. The potatoes was lumpy, real potatoes.
Got to be.
It was a white woman, older white woman. She had to be probably about 70, 75 years old. Came from behind there with a gold goddamn tooth in her mouth, behind her two front teeth on that between the second and third tooth. Came out there. She said, "Baby, what can I get you?" And she had all them bags on her arms. That shit was sagging. I was just like, "Well, shit, did you tell me what do you think I should get?" And she said, "I'm telling you right now, I put my foot in them damn in that pork chop and gravy over there. Get you some of that."
Didn't.
And some of them
you didn't put your foot in that pork chop and gravy.
And some of them green beans. And I'm telling you, she said, "Get you a biscuit and you'll be just fine." And
all of that.
She wasn't lying.
But now, what did you put in the mason jar? Was it lemonade or was it sweet tea?
It was sweet tea. They're gonna demand that you drink that.
There it is.
I'm about that lemonade though. Hey, you know what? I gotta give some love to my guy FFG who caught the LL Cool J reference, man. Shout out to you, dog. You caught it. Everybody else is asleep.
Oh yeah, I missed it. Because I was thinking about the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows and the walnuts and the extra butter and the cinnamon and a little dash of nutmeg.
Now you got me now. You got me now with the nutmeg right there. That's
just a little dash though, just a little dash.
Oh, you can overdo it so quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very potent.
The dash of
nutmeg is a very powerful drug.
Yeah, man.
A little dab will do ya. A little extra cinnamon, that ain't gonna hurt nobody.
No.
Hey, Seymour Buzz says Miracle Whip is disgusting. I'm a Miracle Whip guy. I ain't gonna take that personal, Seymour, but I go back and forth between like depending on what kind of sandwich I make, I'll use Miracle Whip depending on exactly what I'm doing, like your traditional hoagie or your cold cut combo. I will use Hellman's. But like a plain old turkey sandwich or plain old ham sandwich or something like that, I'll use Miracle Whip. Because I like the sweetness of it.
Yeah. So get away from that. I haven't had Miracle Whip in God knows how long. It's nasty. But like it's so funny for me because you ever just go out and have a sandwich and you're like, man, this sandwich is good, and you're trying to figure out what's on the sandwich. The answer 94% of the time is somehow just regular ass mayonnaise. I'm just telling you. I'm just letting you know all my childhood, my mom's would send me to school with a sandwich. And I would trade them shits, throw them shits. I'm not eating. These sandwiches are the worst. Love you, Mom. Rest in peace. You made the worst sandwiches. She knows. You know what I mean? She knows. The minute there's a little bit of mayonnaise on, it's like, oh, okay. Well, we got a sandwich now. I'm telling you, mayonnaise changes your sandwich situation. Like, would you believe a sandwich that I've been eating here is like a big up sandwich here in town where I'm at. It's just straight up pita breads made by the Lebanese folks. It's some down home shit, but it's just pita bread, chicken breast, curry, and mayonnaise, and it's bomb. I'm just throwing some stuff out there for you guys. You'd be so shocked. bomb. But,
Hey, Kedz, I'll give you. He said, Demond Dye says, no matter what sandwich. What about sandwich spread?
Oh, that's just for the ghetto.
Yeah, that's some good shit for real.
What's sandwich spread? I don't know about that. What's that?
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, that's
Yeah.
it's like Miracle Whip. Isn't that a brand name basically? Because it's all mayonnaise.
Yeah, Miracle Whip. No, whoa. Miracle Whip
is
is actually, if you look at the bottle, they'll say it's salad dressing. It's not
salad dressing or sandwich spread or no salad dressing. There you go.
Number one, you
because,
don't.
Well, there are differences. Because, like, if you're looking at specific recipes, like if you're going to make a copycat egg salad from like Katz's Deli in New York, I think they use like specifically Hellman's mayonnaise. And then I got this just now that I just opened, but it's what is that? Kraft. What is that?
Olive oil in it.
Olive oil.
Oh, with olive oil. Okay.
I had that one.
Yeah, olive oil, and I haven't tasted it yet, so let me get a little.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's like mayonnaise.
Okay.
It tastes like mayonnaise. So because those dry ass choke sandwiches, especially if you ever been locked up, just like in the station precincts, and they bring you a choke sandwich with that bologna and just like white ass bread, no condiments or nothing like that. It's like, yeah, that's no fun. There's nothing enjoyable about that for your palate, your taste buds. We need some of that mayonnaise to help lubricate the swallowing. No diddy.
I tell you,
mayonnaise to put a little flavor on that plain ass white bread and that plain ass bologna. Especially when you got no mustard.
It's so funny. Like as soon as we talk about white folks cooking food, it's got to come back down to mayonnaise. Y'all invented that shit, and I got to give the white man a big thumbs up because I didn't realize it in my youth, but mayonnaise is a shit. It's dope. I just got to put it out there. It's good stuff.
One time, my girlfriend came home. Not the one I'm with right now, but when I had her, she came home and she know I can get down. I don't talk about that I can cook because we got Trips, and that's Trips' thing. I ain't the one to be trying to steal no goddamn thunder. And that's what Trips.
Everybody got to eat, baby. Go do your thing.
Well, that's what you do on the channel, but I don't talk about it because it ain't important. We can't, But one time she came home and she was going to a Christmas party with the company, and she can't cook. And I told her that straight to her face. We used to argue about it at first, but then she came to the conclusion after being with me for long enough that, yeah, you're right. I can't cook. You can cook. and she hates that shit to this day. And she asked me, she was just like, what do I take to this party? I said, well, most people just take simple shit. At the most, you take a pot of green beans or something like that. At its simplest, you make some potato salad or you make some deviled eggs or something. You take that shit in there, right? I was like, which one do you want? She's like, thought about it for a minute. She said, can you make deviled eggs? I said, I ain't never made them before, but I'm going to make them. And so I decided to make them with hot sauce. It was Louisiana hot sauce and some goddamn Miracle Whip with some damn egg, of course, eggs, but relish, some good ass relish, good ass little bit of mustard. I forget the mustard that we use around here in Chicago, but it's in my kitchen right now. But I mix it all up with some Miracle Whip because it got a little bit of sweet to it. Think about all the flavor profiles that I just got through describing. That's a lot of tart. Hot sauce and Tabasco and mustard. You got to mix that shit in, right? So I use Miracle Whip that has a little bit of sweet zing to it. And I mixed it all up. And she took them bitches to work, man. I mean, excuse my language. I shouldn't have said that. She took them things to work. And it was a turnout. She said it was a turnout. I only gave her I made 48 of them things. And she said it was a turnout. She said they turned that goddamn thing over. And it was after them. And I used Miracle Whip to do it. So all the people that say shit about Miracle Whip versus, hey man, it has its place. Just
I'm sorry. You want?
No, I was just agreeing with the man. Like Miracle Whip does have its place, and like you found one of the bombest places with that them deviled eggs. It's so funny you say that about the wife though, or your girlfriend. Same thing with my wife. My wife, the first time she cooked me a meal, she cooked me curry chicken, and like I'm with a bunch of Jamaicans, and they're trying to show her how to cook it, and she cooked it and put it on the plate for me, and I'm looking at this thing going, no, oh, thanks, baby. And then you push, you try to get a little bit intimate, and you push it away. Let me tell you, my wife makes the best sandwiches, though. Her sandwiches are second to none. I don't care. So it works out very well. She figured it out.
There is something that you could also do if you're trying to be health conscious. Instead of using actual mayonnaise in some dishes, use plain Greek yogurt, because it will have that same body, and you can flavor it up, kind of like if you were using a sandwich spread or burger sauce, if you will, like a Big Mac sauce, as a point of reference. You throw in some mayonnaise or some Greek yogurt, and then you throw in a little garlic powder, a little onion powder, a little paprika. Then you squirt in some relish, some mustard, and then for sweetness, hit it off with a little honey. And then you mix all that up, let those flavors marry for about an hour in the fridge. And then you get basically like a Big Mac sauce that you can put on most anything, hot dogs, hamburgers, sandwiches. And so it's a nice, universal, not totally fattening, thing. So you can substitute where you need to substitute, but do not deprive yourself of those flavors, of the enjoyment of the taste buds, of the, from the hot and spicy to the tart to the sweet. Let that flavor palette explore. Now, there will be things that your body don't agree with, like I can't be fucking with that hot shit because it's bad for the boo-boo. Whatever your situation is, like for you lactose people, with the dairy, or if you got the sugar with the sugar, the diabetics, or, whatever the case may be, the cholesterol people with the strokes, what up, mister? But do not stop eating some dishes because it's like, that can't be healthy for me, or it's got too many calories. Figure out how to make that shit healthier, and then you go from there, because you got to enjoy your life, and that includes your food, your intake. I mean, you want to sit around and eat rice cakes all day long? Come on.
See, or you find a cheat day, man. Like, it's one of those things that I found on when I was doing keto. Is sometimes you'll be on that diet and you'll be eating stuff like them rice cakes, but you just get to a plateau and you stop losing weight. Like, you just stop. Sometimes you gotta eat regular food, the things that you like, shock your system again, and then get back to it. So make sure, even if you are doing the other thing, you take some time out for yourself, have those things that you enjoy, shock your system, and then you can get back to it after.
Well, here's more of a that's why when you say a cheat day, that's indicative of you're doing something that you don't want to do the other days of the week, and that's not very emotionally satisfying. That makes you want to cheat on your not cheat days. So just make it a whole lifestyle thing. It's like, guess what? I don't buy granulated sugar anymore. I just buy the stevia, or use monk fruit, or use honey or maple syrup. I just don't buy white all-purpose flour anymore. I only use like whole wheat or almond flour. You just cut out shit. Whereas, and substitute it where you can. So you eat every day that way, and you adjust your recipes to adjust to the taste that you want to achieve, and you carry that on every day of the week. And so when you do have a quote unquote cheat day, it could be because, I got a coupon for this DoorDash, let me order from something out or make something fancy. Because your regular lifestyle now is one that is conducive to not being a fat ass, to not being, non-healthy. And I saw somebody in the chat was saying another use for plain yogurt, if you mix the plain Greek yogurt with a little lemon juice, you got sour cream for a potato. You know what I mean? You know, so sour cream can be fattening as fuck.
He talking about,
You know?
he talking
So
about regular. You got to get a very neutral yogurt. So that basically you got
just plain yogurt. That's neutral. That's why it's plain.
Crimson.
So-
Man,
so-
I'm okay with
Not
being
plain because like there's like if you want to do like jazz up your yogurt and put nuts and whatever in it, you can like do a vanilla yogurt, but
granola.
like or granola in there, which is lovely in yogurt. In the vanilla yogurt, but for a substituting like for mayonnaise or for sour cream, you want to use the plain yogurt. And there are different brand names depending on where you live, but plain yogurt is fucking plain yogurt.
yeah.
And it can be a substitute for a lot of things.
I got this like eating is a treat for me. You know what I mean? Like it really is. It's like you got to enjoy your food. You got to really enjoy what you enjoy and understand this, that you can enjoy all the food that you want. It's about making sure, but at everything at you know, be reasonable about it. But at the same time, you got to make sure you mix in a proper workout and a proper exercise to your diet. I don't care, Mr. Charles, even if you're sitting in a chair, that you can always find a way to get you some exercise and some good cardio and eat the way you want to eat. You know what I mean? No, there's a way for everybody to work out. You know what I mean? You got to sweat. And that's the bottom line truth. Well, I was fortunate that we had a strength and conditioning coach and a trainer that he really became my personal trainer because he really put some emphasis on me packing on muscle. And so he spent a lot of time with me trying to show me how to eat, show me how to, he used to tell me so much stuff that was so beyond my comprehension at that time. It's because I was so young. I mean, when you're a teenager, you don't really see yourself later on down the road, 10, 15 years later, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to start listening to what coach was trying to tell me. And that is making sure that you put the proper amount of fuel in your body that makes sense. You know what I mean? I love pizza. It's probably my number one trigger. Pizza. Love me some pizza, and I live in the Chicago area. So go figure. Pizza, love me some chicken wings, some fried chicken wings. Love me some love a good ass burger. I'm just like anybody else. I like all the shit that everybody else likes. I don't like sweets. It's not that I don't like them. I just choose not to eat them. You know what I mean? It's just like I can do without buying a Snicker. I can do without eating a whole bunch of cookies and cakes and pies. I don't need that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I would be still eating ice cream if I wasn't lactose intolerant. I know there's good ice cream out there that is, you know, that's for me. But I just choose not to eat all that shit. You know what I mean? It's just me. You know what I mean? Now, if you have a certain, like some people grow up in a house, like one of my boys, he grew up in a house where his mother loved to bake. Literally would just, I go over his house right now. If we were in high school, every time I went to go get that cat, that lady would have cakes, pies, cookies of all varieties sitting there on the table. As soon as you walk in, it's like if you got a sweet tooth, you're going to be in there for an hour or so. That's how much shit she had on the table. And so he grew up with a sweet tooth. And so in order to shape that sweet tooth, he had to turn into an obese person. You know what I mean? He turned obese from having that sweet tooth. He liked to eat sweets too much and he didn't want to work out. And he got big. And so you have to know I guess you got to know your own personal dynamite is what I'm trying to say.
Well,
so just everything and be reasonable about it.
You have to be. Our guy Robert Frail is saying he said he put something great in the chat here, and it was everything in moderation, including moderation. And what I found with myself is just that my upbringing was an upbringing where I was more than likely, again, just due to financial restraints and constraints, I would likely be rewarded with food. So food became the prize for just about everything. Oh, you did good at school. Let's go to McDonald's. You scored a bunch of goals in soccer. Let's go get some food and sell it. Let's go out to eat and sell. Let's go to the Chinese food buffet. Like that was the reward, and it became sort of a thing. At this point in life, I've eaten a whole bunch of things. If I'm eating something that's fresh, brand new, and different, cool, I will try it, test it, and love it. But I try not to put myself in a situation at this point of life where food is the reward. Food is some sort of a over and above treat. And the added bonus to, again, if you're on keto and having that, that I called it a cheat. Maybe it's the wrong thing to call it, but when you do it like that, if you do your diet the way that it is for the week, it actually has sort of an effect of normalizing the effects of your diet, which makes it even more powerful when you kick it back into gear the following week. So you wind up actually kicking yourself back into ketosis and losing more weight the following week because you ate regular food or introduced some level of sugar to your diet. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on the food situation.
And here in America, we have grown up in a culture that has, eaten a lot of unhealthy shit.
Yeah.
And, from not only the fried and fatty stuff of the fast foods, but the pesticides and the storing in the cans, the metal cans and all that bullshit. And so
you name
preservatives, all of that, the appropriate amount or acceptable amount of feces, rat feces, of poisons, of toxins. And so, now as we've aged, those that have seen this history, you just gotta make what changes you can, because you realize there's only so much time left. You just can't keep doing the same shit when you were young, because when you were young, you'll get a couple 40 ounces, a couple pieces of Harold's chicken, a quarter half fried heart with fries, and then you get some gizzards, you gotta have some gizzards on the side and shit. Man. And then you know what I mean? So it's like, but you can't keep eating like that, maybe once a month, and that's your cheat day, because you make the changes otherwise by reducing the possibilities for the sugar or the calories and all that.
We about to make sliders tomorrow with some Aunt Millie's keto bread. Give me a tip.
Steam the buns in the dish while the meat is frying.
Run that by me one more time.
It's like you got ground beef, or what kind of meat?
It's probably gonna be ground beef,
All right, so you season up your ground beef, your ground chuck with a little salt and pepper, and you have it in your skillet or your blacktop, right?
Yeah.
And then you top it with a few raw onions, diced up, and then you put the bottom bun on the top of where the onions are, and then the top bun on the top of the bottom bun. And then as the meat is cooking, it's steaming the buns at the same time.
I think I'm going to do it on a flat top griddle. I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. As soon as you put the meat on there, put the buns on there, then you flip them. Then as soon as you flip them, you put the cheese on there. You got to slice them down if you're actually making sliders. But a tip for if you're using like one of those package of buns where it's like, all connected, cut out the meat a little bit bigger than that wide pack and just make the meat that size, because it'll shrink down, and then you can put them all in there and cut it individually. But put the buns on the top. That's the tip. Basically, that gets the flavor from the onions, from the meat into the buns, and that steams them. And that's what adds some of the White Castle flavor.
So have you ever just done just burger in a bowl? No, man?
Nah, hell no.
Hell no, he said. No? All right. All it is just
burger soup. I was telling you about that about a couple months ago. Remember when I was telling you about that? I ate some burger soup. Just saying, I've never even heard of that cheeseburger soup.
Okay, no, yeah,
the fucking chain.
So no, burger in a bowl is a little bit different. So it's just basically a bunless burger, right? There's no bun. You just you cook your patty, you spice it up the way you want to spice it up, and you throw it on top of some lettuce with some onions in there, a little bit of condiments sort of on the side. Try to stay away from the ketchup, because ketchup has more sugar content than your mayonnaise and your relish has some sugar, but it's much more natural than ketchup as well as mustard. But you just throw that in a bowl, throw some bacon on that MF, and chop it up and eat it up, man. It's actually like that's why I loved the keto diet when I was on it, because I could have a burger on a regular basis. I'm just missing the bun. I got all the fun from the burger. I'm eating my burgers. I'm eating steaks. I'm eating chicken wings. You know what I mean? Just straight up raw chicken wings. Throw that in the air fryer, salt and pepper, pull it out, and you're off to the races. A little hot sauce, because again, hot sauce generally doesn't have a lot of sugar content. These are all regular, standard, normal foods that I would be eating not on keto. There's just a way to sort of spin it a little bit so that I'm not introducing that much sugar content or carb content into my system. And it worked pretty well, man. The burger in a bowl, I was killing that for a minute.
I'm tripping on Nick Rimberg talking about these lasagna burgers. That's a first for me.
I've never had a lasagna burger, but I've had a pizza burger.
Like, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah, Nomad, you go crazy on pizza burgers.
Huh?
I said you would go crazy for a pizza. Have you had a pizza burger?
I had a pizza burger, and it was fire.
Okay,
shit. First time I ever ate one was out of goddamn vending machine. And then I ate a real one, huh?
Where was that?
At one of the jobs I was at a company. They had some good. Actually, they was pretty good. It was charbroiled pizza burgers, and you throw them shits in the microwave, and it was for some shit in the out of vending machine. I'm not big on that kind of shit, but I did when I had to work midnights and afternoons and doing different shit. You know, you have to eat what you can get. I wasn't one of those guys early in my life that knew how to cook. It took me until I was, I'd say mid-20.
Single family home, man. I had no other choice. It was either you learn or you're starving. Guess what? Your two sisters might be starving too, so you better learn, or nobody's eating at home because mama got to work. That's just how that worked. You know what I mean? Mama Sunday morning, mom's cooking up for the week, but like that food really only lasts till Tuesday. Once Tuesday rolls around, it's on this guy. You got to fend for yourself and figure out what you and your sisters are eating. So that's just how it was, man. So I learned to cook.
I'm loving these comments in here, man. They own this food shit because I'm a food head. I'm a foodie.
Well, here's a tip for you. Here's something that you need to do, Nomad, Kedz, everybody out there. There's this place in Chicago called Mr. Submarine, and they sell, as the title suggests, submarine sandwiches. You know,
we have Mr. Sub in Canada, bro. Would you believe that? Mr.
Okay, there you go. So you know, so with the bread, with the lettuce, with the pickle, with the tomato, with the meat, with the cheese. But there's something that sets those sandwiches aside, and it's the sauce, because you want it extra wet. Now, it's very messy because it's very oily. But you need right now to make this sauce at your abode, at your house.
Okay, what is it?
It goes on salads. It goes on sandwiches. You can just for a nice little flavor throughout the day. You get you
it's like olive oil and garlic.
Hold on. I got you. Yeah. Not a bottle like a water bottle like this, but like a old relish bottle with like the closing top from a previous condiment, and then you put you a cup of olive oil. Okay. You know, the good shit.
Yeah.
And then a quarter teaspoon of oregano, and then a half teaspoon of garlic powder. But you also have to include a third of a cup of a pepper juice. So like if you have jalapeno peppers in your fridge at home, or banana peppers, or sport peppers, or whatever kind of fucking peppers. But you need that, pour that in there, mix it all up, let the flavors marry, and you get a beautiful topping that has full of flavor, is not bad for you, and it's very universal and goes on so many different things.
Mr. Submarine definitely had that before. Yeah, that motherfucker. I'm telling you right now, there's some shit around Chicago area, kid. You need to get your ass up.
Get your down here, man. I ain't got to take no more trips for food. Trust me, bro.
No, you think you don't? You think you know until you get
I
around this.
know, man. If I reach up there, you have to roll me back to Canada, dog.
Dog.
I'm just
telling
saying,
you,
it'll go crazy.
The food here will make you change your religion. I'm telling you, street
Yeah.
food.
Well, the thing is, Chicago is so international that cultures from around the globe settled in the city. You know, back in the 1800s, and their neighborhoods developed their own culture, their own taste, their own foods from the old school. So you could have, you know, authentic Italian. You know, you can go to the hood and get your best soul food and ribs. You know, you can go to the Polish neighborhoods or the Middle Eastern place and get your pierogi.
Like, hold on, kids, because Nick is asking the question. He's not from around here, obviously. He said, "Nice rack of ribs sounds really good. I'm not from Chicago. Who's got the best ribs there?" And real quick, Minister Charles said, "Limbs." He ain't lying. Limbs do ribs in Chicago the way ribs are done in Chicago. That's the way you're going. If like it's a few guys out there, there's a few places out there, but Limbs that's an institution. You got to stop there.
Oh man, I'm laughing. Cribs is like I travel back to Chicago once a year and I put on 10 pounds, and I totally believe it, bro. Like there's so, and your description, Trips, is exactly like my part of Canada. And it expands a little bit differently the further east or west you go. If I go east, I'm into Quebec, and those guys got a little bit like similar flavors, but again some real heavy French influence, and it's different, but it's bomb. But if I go a little bit further west, I'm up into Toronto, and man, just the over and like it's gotten to the point where it's like Caribbean fusion now. So there's so many Caribbeans over there. There's so many Indian folks over there that the food is just like they're mixing sushi with Caribbean food now. They're doing crazy stuff out there, bro. Like I don't.
Well, you know that comes from all the mixed marriages.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's mixed up now, and it's like, well, I'm going to your family for this, and they going to my family for that. Let's fusion it up, you know, because everybody got a Chinatown.
Oh, like don't let me stop you there. That like Toronto Chinatown is huge. It's crazy, but it's the fusion stuff that gets me. Like they putting cocoa bread on top of all kinds of things that cocoa bread ain't never been introduced to before. Like it's nuts now.
And it works.
Like trips wouldn't fare well in Jamaica, man, because everything in Jamaica has a spice to it. A certain.
Well, no, I've been there before. It was cool, you know, because you can. There's
not with your stomach out.
They use a lot of allspice. It's not all hot. They have a lot of sweet spice as well.
Most of the really good shit is spicy.
Yeah, but it was a calm spice because I remember having goat, like actual fresh goat, instead of like barbecue ribs, is barbecue goat ribs, and it was delicious. And the spice was not hot spicy, but like it had its heat to it, but it like a pineapple sweetness almost, I want to say, but I don't know if it was actually pineapple. I forget what fruit it was, but it was something that was a sweetener, and it was more of that instead of like a hot, you know, that'll burn your boo-boo kind of thing.
Y'all know about roti or
hold on, kid, before you tell that story. I had a cow foot soup when I was in Jamaica that probably burnt my motherfucking stomach lining out. But that shit was so good. That shit was so goddamn good. I went and got another one. Nose was run out, snotting. I'm eating the shit out this motherfucker. And you get it on the side of the road. If like in between, like I took a boat ride to Montego Bay from the grill, and I rode to Montego Bay, and in between there they got some stops, dude. From Montego Bay, I went to a road trip from Montego Bay to Kingston, as far as I could, and I'm telling you, the little areas, the little stores and little restaurants and little stops that you can make along the way. These people, somebody's mamas and daddies, and these people been making these shits for years. I'm telling you, I had some soups out there. I'm telling you, to burn a hole in your stomach lining. but you're gonna go get some more because it's that good. That's just how good them soups are over there.
I'm surprised it was that spicy, but it's probably just that you're not used to Scotch bonnet. Like Scotch bonnet,
Yeah,
it all depends on how long you keep it in that pot. If they're cutting it up and like leaving it in the pot, you'll have problems tomorrow if you're a rookie. Like, and even some vets are gonna have problems tomorrow. But
just imagine me, kids, coming over there, and I ain't really I'm ready to party, and so if I ain't really eating good, first thing I did when I touched down, give me a goddamn red stripe, and I'm tossing them things, 2 or 3 of them. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, we stopping and getting something to eat, and you ain't really ate good, and you put some of that atomic shit on your stomach, and Scotch bonnet peppers, bro, you're gonna have to go pause somewhere and go to the bathroom.
At some point you are, man, but
yeah,
outside of that, you would appreciate these things the most. So roti's an Indian dish. I'm sure there's got to be a couple of Indian spots where you're at. Roti's to die for. I'll tell you that right now. You can get goat roti or curry chicken. Amazing. It's basically just a sandwich. It's a wrapped sandwich, but the bread that they create, and they create it themselves from scratch. The breading to die for. You'd love it. Same thing with doubles. Doubles is a specifically from Trinidad. Trinidadian dish, very heavy Indian influence in Trinidad. So it is this special breading that, again, they make by hand with some curry. In under normal pretenses, it's actually curried lentils. They throw that in between, to die for, bro. With a little tamarind dip. Tamarind's like sour, is like sour dip. Like you have no clue. But like when it comes to Canada, because there's such a heavy Caribbean influence out here, you'd be surprised with this food that we got. Like it's surprising, as well as that Italian influence that you're talking about there a minute ago. A lot of our pasta, our pizza, it for the most part, if it ain't like non-chain pizza, if you're getting it from like an actual spot, it's generally a high quality, bro. Like, and that's why I kind of gotta go. I gotta reach Chicago soon and test up some pizza, because I have a feeling a couple of spots here might be competitive. It's pizza, so
Good luck. This Chicago, man. It's hard to find pizza like this.
I gotta try.
Yeah, I mean, there's a load of pizza places, of rib places to partake.
We can't compete. Like, it's not
right.
We can't. The ribs is a different thing. Okay.
Right. But they're just so many. It's not like there's one place that you have to go to. That's purely subjective to the person's palate, if that's like their favorite restaurant. But there, is a list of deep dish places, thin crust, and all of that. But I did want to give a shout out to Minister, because he said he made his own spicy chili, sweet chili sauce. And it's like you can make all of those sauces at home very easily. I want to show you the burger sauce. So it comes out, kind of looks like Big Mac sauce. I put a little pepper in there, just because I wanted that pepper flavor on the burgers and when I was making it. And it's an old glass jar from I think like some spaghetti sauce or some shit, but you reuse those joints. But then also got I didn't mix it up.
Oh, that's your
oil,
your sub oil. Okay.
Right. And so all the garlic and the oregano are settled there at the bottom. But then get that little shaky dakey. And then it's like
Crimson, they do, man, and it's a different. I'm not sure what you guys are calling sweet sauce, but for us, it's like a sweet garlic sauce. It's like a garlic aioli that's sweet, and it's dope.
Sometimes it's a sweet tomato sauce. Like you can go to, I think Uno's has a sweet sauce over there. I believe it's Uno's. Is it Uno's that got sweet sauce? They got the sweet tomato sauce.
Damn straight, girls.
It might be Uno. I don't know if it's Due. I couldn't tell you because they all have their own flavor. They all have their own distinct thing, from Uno, Due, Giordano's, Geno's East, Pequod's, Lumonati's, Home Run Inn. There's just a shit ton of places to get food in Chicago. That's why everybody's such a fat ass like we are. There's not a whole lot of exercising, but there is a lot of eating. So wherever you're at in the city, you can find somebody who has the neighborhood, Nancy's Space Age Pizza for some. If you're over at that side of the neighborhood, or if you're over there, it's like, well, I need some more fattening food. What can we have? Let's, go to Chicago.
Hey, so Scrolls just asked me a question. He said, and I'm trying to see if I can find it. I think he asked me what's the best. Now I gotta go find it, and I'm answering him. Hold on, let me find it. Hold on.
And while you're doing that, somebody's saying,
what's the best Jamaican spot in Chicago?
The best. I told her to ask Trips. I don't know. I don't live right in the city.
I don't know, because there was places that I would get jerk wings back in the day, but that's been a minute, so I couldn't tell you right now.
It's like Jamaican. You gotta really know where you're going and where you're getting it at. Like I don't know the.
Let me tell you.
The thing is, those places don't last.
On the north side, they had a good Jamaican restaurant.
I would tell you how to.
Wait, let me take that back. There's not Kenny's, the place for ribs and pizza, but Uncle Joe's, that used to be a Kenny's for ribs and pizzas on 51st and Harper in Hyde Park. They have good jerk wings. Now, their menu is Caribbean, but I never really paid attention to other stuff because I really like the jerk wings, and that's really all I got. But that was authentic. But I don't know if they're still there, and I don't know of any other places. So I want to clarify that Jamaican thing for Chicago. All right, go ahead.
I will tell you how to judge it. If you order oxtail and rice and peas, and it doesn't come with plantain on the oxtail, you're at the wrong spot. That's simple. And the reason I'm saying that is that the plantain gives a little of the, we call it plantain. That's what we call it. But I'm saying it for like plantain. But I'm saying it for regular folks. Plantain is how it's spelled. The plantain gives a sweetness to the oxtail that is chef's kiss. It is the missing part of oxtail, period. So if you catch that, that's what you need. You need oxtail, rice and peas, little bit of plantain on top. Thank me later.
They got a spot. They got a spot in Decatur, Georgia. That's like
Jerk
right
48.
So
Okay.
Decatur, Georgia is you got Stone Mountain, Decatur, Lithonia, right there in the same area. It's like little suburbs of Atlanta, and they got a spot out there on damn, I can't remember what road, but man, they got it. I'm telling you, somebody brought their dirty ass right on from Jamaica and didn't even clean up. They just didn't take a shower, and they opened that restaurant and said, "I'm gonna cook the way my grandma showed me how to cook." Didn't take a shower, and they put out, and they never stopped doing it. I'm telling you, this shit is so good. Kid, I've been in Jamaica, and it damn near wasn't as good as this shit in Atlanta. It's like they came over there, and that was their life's mission, to make sure that the taste of Jamaica shows up in Decatur, Georgia. I'm telling you, it's really good. And I'm not a plantain eater when it comes to eating those rice and peas and those oxtails. And I usually give that shit away, but I tried it while I was in there. It had me.
Let me tell you, here's the truth of the matter. So, again, I'm a descendant of people from an island country that's filled with bananas, plantains, and coconuts. I hate coconut. I'm now in my ripe old age starting to appreciate coconut. I can stand it now. Bananas, leave me alone. I hate banana flavoring. Not a fan. Reason being, I was 6 years old. The first time I was in Jamaica, sort of like my second time in Jamaica, coming back. My grandma passed away. My other grandma is cooking up, and I'm like, "Grandma, I'm hungry." So, okay, I'm going to the fridge, grab a banana, and go eat that. I'll have breakfast ready for you soon. So I go in the fridge. I grab what I think is a banana, but it's this massive banana. So I'm like, yo, this is a big ass banana. This will take good care of me, man. So I go outside. I take a big old bite of this thing. Yo, banana and plantain raw are two different things. That ruined banana.
Yeah, they're cousins. They're cousins.
They're related. They're not friends.
Right.
They don't taste nothing the same. At that moment, period, I stopped eating both bananas and plantains again until I was much older. Now, I like plantain. Plantain's really good, especially again on oxtail because it just gives a little added sweetness to something that's sort of salty and savory. It kicks. It's really good, y'all. That's kind of sick. But that's my family owns in different ways. I'm related to folks who have like 3 or 4 different Jamaican restaurants here in town. So again, I kind of get at the very least I get deals. Most of the time I get free food when I go.
Like you would come to Chicago, and if you get with the right people, it's like you let's say we got you up at 6 a.m, right? Came and got you at the hotel, grabbed you. All right, let's go get breakfast. Breakfast ain't no big ass thing in Chicago like it is like in the South and shit like that. Like in the South, breakfast is a big ass deal. It's not that big of a deal here, but you can find some good breakfast food here. But lunch and beyond, bro, and most is like some of the shit around here, it is like I'm telling you, dude, it's like you gotta so Chicago's a good time city, especially in the spring and summer. So everybody's out having a good time. They're drinking, they're doing whatever. And so it's a perfect mindset, and your body's at the perfect place to stop wherever and get something to eat. And I'm telling you, whether it's a Polish, whether it's a Euro, whether it's a sub, whether it's let's go to this tavern over here, grab some pizza, whether it's just so many things to eat here. Like it's ridiculously good, man. And I've been around here my whole life, and I ain't tired of it.
Well, see, Nomad, you're tripping now. They're talking about ain't no spots for breakfast. Did you say, is that what you said?
I ain't no breakfast guy, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, because you want to talk not what is it, the White House? They're on 22nd and off of what the fuck is that? Off of Roosevelt and something over there. It's like 24 hours because there are places that are 24 hours. And they're very big on the food menu 24 hours a day. You got Huck Finn, there's a donut spot. That's more of the Hispanic white people food. But like the black people's, they go to the the Wild Berry, the Blueberry, somebody's berry. It's a breakfast spot that has a couple locations. And they have very good food. And then there's in Hyde Park the Original Pancake, where you get that upside down apple pancake. Come on, son.
Dude, you a sweet eater, man. I don't do breakfast that much, man.
Oh, okay, but you can get omelets. You can get hash and eggs.
I heard that crazy. I go crazy about an omelet. I go crazy about a good ass omelet.
Golden Nugget, that was a spot there, just south of Boys Town, off of Diversity rather, and just. Because I worked in a lot of clubs, a lot of, so 3 a.m, 4 a.m, we just getting off work and we hungry. And only places were open were like the breakfast spots. And so it was like, well, where we want to go, because it didn't matter. There was no traffic at that time in the morning. So it's like, you want omelets? Let's go over here. You want pancakes? Let's go over here. Lou Malnati's? Oh, hell yeah. You know what I mean? So, it was just a breakfast kind of day. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, breakfast is a beautiful thing. And a shout out to what's his name there? Leonidas. He's kind of new to the party.
He's
but
out there though. Shout out to Leonidas.
Right? Hey, Tris, let me ask you a question. Am I just being biased because we from around here? Or you can go to pretty much any churches, Popeyes, or White Castle around this motherfucker and put your ass slam to sleep. In the middle, I'm telling you.
Because you get the itis. That's not good though. That's what the fuck y'all getting your oil, your flour, your chicken, your food that's doing that.
White Castle around here. I don't care where you stop. Go get you some White Castle. I'm telling you, White Castle around here, I don't know why the shit is so goddamn good, but it's fucking good. And matter of fact, my girlfriend wants sliders tomorrow, and I don't want no home cooked shit. I want to go to White Castle, but she don't want no.
Well, I mean, if you do, somebody say you get those Hawaiian rolls, you know, in the store, but you already said you had the rolls that come in the pack. You know, it's better. The original tastes good, but it's like $5 for like 4 of them. You know what I mean? Whereas like you make your own, then it's more economically feasible.
Man, dude, like them chicken sliders at White Castle, those chicken rings. Like I'm telling you what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna get every time. I'm gonna get that doubles, the double cheeseburger slider, the combo. There's got 2 of them on there, and I'm gonna get an extra one. And I'm gonna get me an order of fries, and I'm gonna get me a damn Coke or Pepsi. I can't remember what they sell up in that motherfucker, but that's gonna do it every motherfucking time.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Now, you add ketchup on the burger?
Nope. I gotta get it the way it's supposed to be made. I don't put no ketchup, nothing on my shit. Nothing.
Now, just a shout out to Leonidas and let everybody know to do a little self plug, but it's kind of appropriate. Whereas Sports Chicago Style, which is the YouTube channel, is where all the social medias, that we talk sports, but we also exercise, and there chair workouts for those who are older age, you know, because we have to work the body. We work every joint, all the muscle groups, all the tendons, all the ligaments. We put it into a form that you can, you know, just have fun with it. You can defend yourself, you can dance, but it's the momentum, it's the flexibility, it's the balance of the body. You need that shit. And then, you know, that's Trip. He does those things with his exercise vlogs. But then Chef Trips, he's like in the kitchen and he's coming up with these substitutions that can give you some of your favorite foods, your favorite dishes, your favorite recipes, but with a healthier slant. And somebody in the chat mentioned that they're out of town now and they miss it, like the Doc's fish witch sandwich. Well, Chef Trips is going to make a substitute of that shows you how easy it is to do at home without all the fancy kitchen equipment. You know, there will be some prep time, some cutting, but you're putting all of your own ingredients into it, your own flavors, your own seasonings. So you can adjust as necessary. You can adjust to your dietary restrictions or requirements, but you have to be able to enjoy your food like we said before. So we get that going on. So Sports Chicago Style, again, it's all about our lifestyle, because as we come together and do things, we find that we are more connected than we are apart. Sports connects us, you know, food connects us, because guess what? We all got to fucking eat and we all like to enjoy our food. So whatever culture we're from, wherever we're from, we can always come together and find some commonality and build and go from there.
Also, Trips, and this is way off the topic, but yeah, I'm gonna stay right where you are, Trips, man. It's one of those food is almost like a divinity in this life. It's almost like a spirit in this life. It's like you can find almost what makes a person through his food, or his or her food, whether it's got some kind of soul or spirit to it. You can go to somebody's house that you never even knew, and you go to that place and you're naturally going to be kind of like skeptical about, all right, should I eat this motherfucking food? And then you try somebody's food and you're like, hold on, you know what? You might find a flavor profile that you didn't even think about. Like, I don't like sweet spaghetti. You know what I mean? I don't like it. But I've gone to friends of mine's houses, whether they was from around here, I know people all over the country, and different ones make spaghetti a different way. We eat spaghetti and fish. And to other people, that's like, man, what the fuck y'all talking about, man? That's like 2 different meals. And so I think the same thing of grits and shrimp and fish. You know what I mean? So we got going on, and you know, it's like you can find out the soul of a human being and how much him or his family or her family has in them by the way they cook, man. Straight up.
I'm sorry. I had to. You brought up a shrimp and grits. I was down in New Orleans and I had some shrimp and grits. That was the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. I think it was the smooth and creaminess of the grits, and then the seafood. You know, scrimps. Everybody loves scrimps, and they were together and the Creole flavorings, and it was like voodoo. I ate that voodoo all up, and it was delicious. So all the different cultures, you know, those flavor profiles. It's like you go down to New Orleans, it's like, wait, what am I eating? Oh, y'all put this in there? You know, you go to Texas, and it's like, wait, y'all season it with who? You go to one of the Carolinas, and it's like, wait, y'all use vinegar for your barbecue sauce?
And mustard.
And mustard, you know? So it's like you go different places, and you just enjoy different things. That's what is cool about tailgating at different stadiums if you're touring, because you get to sample a lot of the local specialties. And it's just a very, very beautiful thing. In a beautiful world, it could be.
Man, well said, sir. I just want to give a shout out to the chat, though, before we go too much further. Y'all loving this food conversation because, like, everybody's all up in it. Scrolls is killing it out there. Leonidas, Dr. Earl. Who else is out there just crushing? Brad Williamson, man. I just want to give a little bit of love to y'all because I'm sitting here reading and just dying of laughter. Scrolls is killing me as per normal, man.
Hey, kids. Here's a question for you that Scrolls brought up. Are on your grits salt and pepper, butter, or sugar?
I'm not a grits guy.
Oh, just not grits at all. Oh, damn.
So hold on. There are clear differences between the Black Caribbean and the Black African American, standard fare foods. Grits, chitlins. We don't know about them things. I'm just put it real. Put it the way that
you just don't know that they know about it.
No, we don't cook. We don't. You go to Jamaica, ask a Jamaican about that. No, I'm serious. Go to Jamaica, ask a Jamaican about grits or chitlins, and they'll look at you sideways.
You gonna get me into a whole ass conversation I had with the Maroons when I was over there.
See, they don't know about none of that.
I don't want to do that because that's a whole ass show. I'll save that, but they know. They know
about grits and chitlins.
Oh yeah.
I've never
everything. Like you got to understand. Like before, you talking about the transatlantic slave trade, and there were boats that went here, boats that went there. And right away, some of the islands before the United States, they might have took a southwest track before they went to the United States and came up towards Florida and stuff like that. They went there first, so it was shit going on there before it was going on in the United States per the books. There's people have written stuff that says that like a lot of things that came to the United States came from, you hear about the Gullah culture down in New Orleans and Florida and things like that. That shit comes from the islands.
Yeah.
You're talking about one of the first kind of black societies in the United States. And that came from, you know what I mean? So it's like they knew that before we started doing it over here. So they did it first. They just probably got away from it.
No, they just didn't like. They don't. It's well, maybe they got away from it. It's just those two things are not. They're just not staples in the Caribbean in Caribbean cuisine. They just aren't. So the first time I've ever had grits, I had it in Staten Island. That was the first time I ever had grits and or chitlins as well. Staten Island. Like you know what I mean? Not.
Yeah, not down south.
Not down south. Not in the Caribbean, and not from Caribbean. Folks cooking it for me. It was like a friend of a friend of a friend. I'm at their house type thing. Oh, you ever had?
But Minister Charles brings up a great point. Now, tripe is a big, serious deal when you go to Jamaica. It's a big deal when I had tripe right away when I got to Jamaica. And that's basically cow intestines. It's cow stomach. And so the difference between, So it's like, okay, we're Jamaican, we don't eat chitlins. Nah, that's not real. If you eat cow stomach, you eat some chitlins.
Well, I mean, the chitlins are a little bit down on the exit territory.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, man. That shit's going through the same, shit. You digesting food, I mean, it's just, I ain't no real difference between us. We all black.
I'm just saying, not a staple of the standard Caribbean experience, right? And that's kind of what my experience growing up is, and it's just slightly different. Same token, you go to any city that has a very high Caribbean, population, likely not to see very much chitlins or grits. Like I don't know. It's like the closest thing to that would be tripe and or it's like the closest.
Well, I mean, people learn to eat different people's foods because of other cultures, like a coworker. You go to their family's holiday celebration and, they're cooking and shit. But I've seen a lot of people who are on their lunch break on the South Side. Somebody brought up Queen of the Sea, and they were big for their soul food buffets. And there are other restaurants like there were Army and Lou's, Gladys's, that were big on soul food. But the thing about Queen of the Sea, it was a buffet. So after church was the worst fucking time to go. Do not go after a black church lets out. But they had a buffet line. They had everything soul food related. They had, black eyed peas, greens, green beans, mac and cheese, fried chicken, baked chicken, turkey, all the way to the desserts, your cobblers, your peach, your apple pies, your pound cakes, your lemon cakes. And it was all bad for you. Every single one of those dishes, nothing was fucking healthy whatsoever, but it was delicious. And that's the shit that we ate growing up. And so trying to put a spin on that, is something that I'm attempting to do to remind myself that I can enjoy those flavors from back when I was just a little roly-poly little fucker. Just like, yeah, let me get some more of that mac and cheese, please. Fuck yeah. Can I get some extra sugar in my Kool-Aid? Okay. So now as I'm old, I'm trying to be like, yeah, different cultures, different ways of enjoying food from the culture I grew up with. And that's what we got to figure out as a brain trust, how to do that, because the places that we grew up eating that we enjoyed are gone. Or gone corporate. Somebody mentioned Rosati's, and it's like they went corporate, they've lost their flavor. The fast food places aren't using real food. And the relatives that, made those dishes, they've passed on. So we're missing a lot of enjoyment that we could have because we make it happen. Like, what are those famous words? If you can think it, you can do it, you can make it happen. Somebody says that shit all the time. I don't know who the fuck that is, though.
Hey, Tris, let me ask you a question. There's a such thing called struggle sandwich. A struggle sandwich. What would be your idea of a struggle sandwich? I'll help you out. I'll go first if you want me to.
Go ahead.
I would say a fried hot dog sandwich. Bliss it up real hard.
Oh, shit, you got meat? You ain't struggling. You got meat.
Struggle sandwich. That's just what they call a struggle sandwich. You got to fry a hot dog. 2 hot dogs with blisters on the back of that motherfucker, and on both sides of it, as a matter of fact, and try to turn it into a meal. They call it a struggle sandwich.
Well, that's lunch. Shit, fried hot dogs. That's shit. You eating good? Shit, what the po folk eat? We got fried hot dogs. A struggle sandwich is a piece of bread with some syrup on it.
A syrup. Hey, my boy.
A piece of bread. Maybe you can find one of those. They had the packets with the sugar. And you sprinkle that shit on a piece of bread, and it's like, enjoy. Bon appetit, motherfucker.
Hey, like Rain said, a syrup sandwich. My boy said a po' boy.
Man, you find you a piece of bread in a ketchup packet? Ooh.
definitely had myself a struggle sandwich, but it ain't quite what y'all describing. My struggle sandwich is just whatever happens to be in the fridge, and you put that in a pan and you stir it up, and you put a piece of bread around that.
Right.
Like at
And
one
there you
point
go.
for me, it was like leftover chicken from like a couple of days before, some cheese. You just shave some cheese up in there, whatever spices are available. I found some like this is crazy. I found some stuffing. I just threw the stuffing in the pot. This is me as a teenager having virtually no food, and you just gotta look in the fridge and be like, you know what? That's what's for dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you got in there. So fucking yeah, man. Like I say, learn to cook early.
Hey, I need somebody's help from the shy South Side. What was the name of was it Leon's or was it Lamb's? I get those two confused. But it was underneath well, yeah, that's why I get them confused. But it was directly under the train on 55th. It was directly under the train over there. The fuck, South Chicago, off of South Chicago. Leon's, there we go. That place. Now, that was the place that after the bowling alleys closed or the clubs, your Leon's, you get those places like Leon, yeah, 55th, I think. It was directly underneath the train. I remember that.
57.
But okay, but that was some enjoyment shit. But yeah, but when you was poor, the shit that was in the pantry that nobody ate was like a gold mine, like sardines. Sardines lasted in the pantry because nobody would eat them because there were other options until there were no other options. And it's like, well, let's see what this is up with these sardines. Then it's like you pull you out a sleeve of them saltine crackers, or because you ain't had no Ritz because you was poor. And then you had some hot sauce, you had a meal. Shit, some crackers, some sardines, and hot sauce. You eating good. But that's poor as fuck.
Man, yeah, you're scraping that cupboard at that point, but that ain't so bad. Like I've been there for sure.
Hey, dude, there's a like what's your struggle meal? So like if I had to go in there and right now, if I can't find nothing else and make it work, there's a meal that I can make. And you know what I mean? Like, for most people, it's probably something in a can, something potato related. You know what I mean? Like, I can go in there and make a hood hamburger helper, and that is you ain't got no noodles, no nothing. So you got to make some ground beef and something work. And so everybody in the hood know you can go brown up some ground beef and dump a whole can of pork and beans in that thing. That's some hood hamburger helper. That's how we roll.
Well, if you want to roll like that, get you a box of mac and cheese. I would say Kraft Dinner, but that's the brand name. That's more expensive. It's going to be the generic, mac and cheese.
Canadian.
And then you get you a can of tuna and a can of green peas. And you make the mac and cheese, put a little seasoned salt in it, a little salt and pepper, jazz it up a little bit. And then you dump that tuna in there after, like, if you got some season, even if you don't get food, you normally get your seasonings and spices. So before you put that tuna into the mac and cheese, mix you a little Old Bay seasoning in with that tuna. Jazz it up, give your dinner a little umami. That's a different flavor.
Hey, so I never had this Old Bay business before. The wife, I don't know what she been watching, but she found it. A little bit of Old Bay and throwing that in my food late. They ain't so bad, man. It's pretty good.
Yeah, here you go. That's extra very good on fish.
Yeah, it is.
It's a fish specialty. So you mix that in with the tuna, and then you dump that tuna in with the mac and cheese, and then you get a little garlic powder, a little onion powder with the peas after you dump them in. And then you mix all that up, and you got a meal.
See, man, for me, it's real simple, man. I will find a can of tuna or salmon. Throw that in a pan, chop up some peppers, onions, a little spice, couple pieces of bread. I'm eating. It ain't like a sandwich, but it's a meal. That's all I need. That's it, right? Like I don't need no ground beef. I don't need any of them things. If I got a can of tuna, a can of salmon, I can get myself a little something to eat, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Clifford here talking about your loose meat sandwiches. Like that's some struggle. That's some struggle shit.
Yeah, man.
You get meat, shit.
Whatever meat you got, man. Like I'm saying, basically the same thing with tuna or salmon. But that's it, man. That's a quick, easy meal.
Hey, so what's that? Hey, Trish, what's that movie that Tupac was in? What was it? When he was at school, he was still in high school. What's that movie? And they was in the hallways, and he was acting all crazy.
Juice.
Juice. All right, so I was watching Juice, and I watched that movie probably 18 times, 20 times at least. And there was a part in there where Fat Boy was in the kitchen. They were skipping school.
Talking about Sam's? Oh no,
yeah.
It is still Sam's. It's actually the same kid.
That wasn't
You still crack, don't you, boy?
He grown up. It's the same kid. It's still
so
Sam.
they went to the crib. He took him over to the crib, and they started making some shit. And he was scrambling up some eggs. I think he put some. Did he cut some hot dogs up in that motherfucker?
Oh hell yeah! Come on.
And then pour some beer in that motherfucker
For flavor.
And I was just like, hold up, this motherfucker might know some shit. He just, I was just like,
yeah, that ghetto omelet.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man.
Yeah, like, fried hot dogs on the struggle.
I actually tried that with some hot sauce.
Yeah, throw some cheese in there too. Don't sleep on the cheese.
I'm just saying. I tried that with some hot sauce, and I'm telling you, you've never done no shit like that.
Well, no. See, here's how you do it. You cut up the hot dogs first into bite-sized pieces. Then you put them in your skillet and let them fry up a little bit. You know, get that little char on them. You know, a little bubbly. You know, so they're cooked basically. Then you mix up your eggs and you pour that in there. Now your eggs, you mix in a little hot sauce, and then your seasonings, your peppers, your whatever the fuck. And then while that's in there, it's kind of like an omelet now. And so you throw that cheese in there too, and then you just let it form. And then you get you a tortilla. You know, that's the Hispanic like slice of bread. It's like real fucking thin. Mm-hmm. And then you roll that shit up in a tortilla like a little burrito. And you put that back on the skillet and let it harden up. And now you got you a breakfast roll up.
Yeah, man. That's like, these are like things I've learned over time. Like, Trip, you're doing it right, bro. But hey, how much for one rib?
One rib.
One rib. You got
one slab of ribs. No, one rib.
One rib.
Man, dude, this classic. I like different shit that I've tried. Like I'll brown up and blacken up a hot dog or two, chop them bitches up, dice them all up, and cook up some eggs. Wait till it's see. Most people don't know how to make scrambled eggs, and people just the ridiculous people of the world will throw the cheese in right away. Cheese. And not understand that when you got the weight, first thing you got to do is throw them hot dogs up in there, cut up, throw them hot dogs in there, make sure they brown the way you want them, make sure them things is right, and then you pour the eggs. You got to turn that eye down a little bit and throw them eggs in there. And let them eggs slowly come, and you fold them lightly. You don't go crazy with them and just constantly just scrape the pot or the pan. You just let them fold, turn them over a little bit at a time. And once they're kind of almost done and they still got that liquid to them, then you throw the cheese in it. Mm-hmm. Then you pour the hot eggs over top of it.
Well, I'm about to fuck your world up right now, Nomad. If you got some shredded cheese of whatever flavor, put that directly into the skillet. You know, form that cheese into like a big tortilla. Fry that cheese.
You like hard cheese. You like
let that cheese fry on the bottom, and then you break open that egg on top of the cheese, and you kind of let it spread out. But now you've already browned your hot dogs, you know. So then you put those on there, whatever kind of meat you're using or whatever other veggies, and then as that cheese is ready, you roll up that cheese. So now you got a cheese roll up, fried on the outside, soft on the inside, with all your innards on the inner.
Cliff Victoria. I'm gonna have to do Cliff Victoria always comes out with the bombest food in the chat somehow. But Cliff is talking about Wagyu hot dogs. That's some next level shit, bro.
I've had buffalo dogs. I've had what you call those elk dogs.
The chat's the best right now, yo. I'm just saying.
When we talk about food, you can't
Yeah, I
miss
mean, there's whatever animal, elk, moose, there's ribs, there's hot dogs, whatever animal, is delicious. And us carnivores will eat the asshole out of a pig, hence chitlins. So any part of an animal, of any animal, we gonna put some salt, pepper on there and figure out how to cook it. We gotta fry it, we gotta smoke it, we gotta boil it, whatever. We gotta broil it. Shit, we gonna find a way.
Man, dude,
I'm gonna have to mess with this Wagyu hot dog business. Like,
that's gonna cost you. That's gonna cost you. It ain't like no regular hot dog.
That's dude. Okay. I don't like. I'm not a. You know what I mean? I actually don't.
Overrated, bro. It's overrated. They're telling you on the word Wagyu.
Well, it's like I'm not a big hot. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not a big hot dog guy at all. I'll be frank about that.
That's that fancy shit.
You know what I mean? But if we're talking like some gourmet shit. All right,
gourmet shit.
I'll test it out one time. I'll spend a couple of bucks to get some Wagyu. I'll do it. Damn.
Have you ever eaten deer, bro?
Oh, venison, delicious.
Sorry, yeah, I've had venison for sure. I've had
very, very overrated, man. You gotta make sure that's right. I've had.
Well, it can be kind of gamey. It can be kind of gamey if you're not cooking.
I had venison sausage. That's what saved my day. Because other than that, I would have never ate another piece of venison ever.
I've had venison. I've had buffalo. I'm seeing that in the chat there too. Venison, buffalo.
But it's also while you think. Go ahead, Kedz. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, there was just a little burger spot right underneath where I used to live, and this cat he cooked up all kinds of crazy shit. He had kangaroo on the menu. I don't know where he was getting that from, but you know what I mean. Like you're transporting kangaroo from. Like from Australia,
right?
That guy stand up on 2 feet, man. You don't supposed to eat that guy.
Well, like that. That's not. That won't be the cutoff for me. The cutoff is really how fresh is this shit for real? For real, if it's coming from Australia, it's all good. I know buffaloes are like somewhere nearby, and you know what I mean. Like venison, there's deer. I've seen deer. You know what I mean. Like you don't have to go
on 2 legs. He up on 2 legs. He walking on 2 legs. I don't think you're supposed to be eating that guy, dude.
It's a good. That's a good cutoff. That is a good. Don't get me wrong. That's a good cutoff.
You ever eat anything that gets up on 2 feet?
Squirrels, they get on 2 feet.
You ate a squirrel? Oh yeah.
Yeah, a squirrel. And a raccoon, they get on 2 feet.
Good Lord, bro! You ate raccoon?
I had some. My Aunt Della and Uncle Bud. They're from the South, and Uncle Bud went squirrel, coon hunting, every other summer, and he would come back, his little string of dead squirrels and raccoons and rabbits and bunny rabbits and such, and Aunt Della would get to cooking, and there was some good eating. Any kind of forest game, wild animal was delicious. I don't care how many legs they walk on. Shit, if it tastes good with some barbecue sauce, is getting ate.
Some stuff I don't.
But you got to remember though that not everybody can cook, and so whoever deer you ate might have not prepared it right. Because if you don't prepare a lot of those very lean meats, it's going to taste gamey. So maybe you use too much salt and not enough salt. Didn't cook it long enough. Cooked it too long. It's just like shrimp. If you boil them too long, it fucks up the flavor. You got to get it just right. And so don't give up on venison because you had like a bad experience. Give it another shot because like you can have some venison chili and it's the most delicious stuff you've ever had.
You see it because it's boiled down though. It makes it much less gamey and like
right.
I mean, it actually works out really well in the soup or chili or something like that.
Right.
Would either one of y'all eat possum?
Oh shit! Rabbits, squirrels, coons, possum, right there too.
I done fuck some rabbit up, and to be honest with you,
but now possum is more greasy.
Rabbit up, he says. Hilarious to me. I try to stay like, you know what I mean, like rodents and shit. I'm not really about that. So like no, I wouldn't eat no coon or squirrel, or I have eaten rabbit. That's as far as I'll go, and it was okay. It was all right. I've eaten frog legs. Kind of tastes like chicken. That's what everybody says. It's true. It tastes like chicken. Or some
like you fried chicken and fish grease.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's what it tastes like, bro. That's a really good way to explain it. Fried chicken in fish grease. That was exactly what it tastes like. I've had some weird stuff, man. That's about it, though.
I mean, snake.
No, I would never eat that.
I'm telling you, most of the shit that most of y'all have tried, I gotta wait until we run into some apocalyptic shit in our future where we just struggling out here with no power grid and we got to figure out how to feed ourselves. I might tie your ass up and roast your ass over a grill just to make sure I get to the next day. You know what I mean? I'm just bullshit.
You ever had brains and eggs?
Oh no.
Said what now?
Like brains and eggs, like cow brains, pig brains, lamb brains, but you fry them up and mix them with eggs like an omelet.
So I just want to say a couple of things. Whoever figured that out was real hungry. Second off, some asshole ate the rest of that thing. Like you left with the head, and you're like, "Fuck it, jerks! You guys ate all the rest of the cow. This is all I got left. Fuck it."
Yeah. The langura of the cow tongue. It's like that. And then you would go to Asian restaurants, you see the ducks hanging there. It's wherever. We all eating something that's been, quacking around or floating around, or we're asking for nuts or some shit.
I used to date this Asian girl.
I'm about to take y'all somewhere for the last part of the conversation before we close up out of here. Under a circumstance where you had to get into the bunker mentality, and it was about making sure that you were fed, making sure that you had warmth and you had heat, and you had what you needed to get to the next day. And there was no grocery store. There was no delivery service. There's no Amazon. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no nothing. All of a sudden, you turn around and you had to figure out, what can I do outside of my house to make sure I get to the next day? What animal won't you fuck with out there?
Well, if it comes down to a survival situation and your tummy's going, and you're weak and you're dizzy, and it's like, oh, I'm so fucking hungry. It's like, hey, look at that earthworm over there. Let me brush that dirt off of this little son bitch. And then, it's like, you chew it up to make sure it's not still wiggling around. You swallow that joint. It's like, hey, look at that insect over there. That's edible. There is nothing you won't fuck with when hunger is on the line. And you people that say, oh, I wouldn't do that. It's like, oh, really? Let's say you got pets. Hey, Rover. Hey, hey, little kitty. It's like, oh, we out of food for the animals. What we going to do with all that good animal meat?
The pets and the rodents, that's why I got to draw the line. As long as there's water and there's fish in it, as long as there's air where there's birds in it, as long as there's other creatures around, I ain't going to I ain't eating no cat and rat and dog.
How you gonna get the bird?
I'm gonna get the bird. I got BBs.
Slingshot.
I had BBs since I was a little boy.
Okay, I'm just checking to see if you're like a skilled archer. You know what I mean? And we didn't know that you had archer skills. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to like post-apocalyptic food, all bets are off. I'll eat whatever's available except for my friends and maybe my personal pet. But whatever's out there.
I mean, Nomad, what if you were in I don't want to say Thailand or over across seas, but in a neighborhood where it's like, hey, they eat dog regularly. I mean, it's just kind of like just a meat for them.
You don't have to eat the dog, though. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to.
Hey, Minister Charles says, he said, Nomad, I'm an ex-Ranger. There's nothing I would eat.
See?
Now, he might eat me as shit if I sat still too long. Shit, I don't know. Worry about it.
He's an ex-Ranger. He will fillet your ass if the need be. You know what I mean?
He knows how to field, strip, and dress you. And then smoke you up nicely.
Kosher.
But the enemy would never even smell the smoke. But there would be smoke.
So one last thing I would mention is, we joking around, but one thing that I've learned over time, and
hold on, before you go there,
yeah.
Remember, people, in an emergency situation, if there is no food around, dog food and cat food, senior citizens have been eating that shit for decades. So don't think that you are above it. And now, as somebody who's nibbled on like just dog biscuits just because I was hungry and it was like cookies, it's like, you know, hey, what are you gonna do?
Hey kids, let's say a prayer for trips. Let's say the Lord's Prayer. The Lord is my German Shepherd. Not
hey, tuna's basically like, you know, just more natural cat food. You
Excuse
put that
me,
shit down.
All you Christians out there, I apologize for that one. That was silly. But
Man, you find you one of those little thing of oyster crackers. And so you get your little thing of oyster crackers and some cat food. Shit, that'd be some good ass eating. I'm messing around and find some hot sauce.
Wow, man, that you said. I just, you know what? We got into all this conversation because I was trying to steer trips away from the feet conversation. I just knew it was coming, but I did the food thing, just to get trips off the feet thing, man. I just wanted to have a show when we ain't talk about nobody goddamn feet. And I'm glad that we got through this, man. But yeah, it was like I want to go into a whole ass conversation about this survival thing, man, because it's a big thing that I had to learn while I was doing emergency response. I had to learn how to prepare for, you know, you got to set a proper ground. People that don't know that, like Minister Charles knows exactly what I'm talking about. Setting a proper ground, you know, when it comes to electricity, you got to have copper and shit to do that, to ground the electricity and so that you can use it. And so things like that, people should learn how to do. You know what I mean? Those are basic things, but, you know, people who like light and all that kind of stuff but don't know how to generate it and keep it safe need to learn how to do some things, man. And it won't hurt none to look at some videos and watch how people do some shit and get away from the Bears conversation for a little bit. Learn how to be self-sufficient. And that's something I learned how to do. I actually, matter of fact, I need to do some brush-up videos on how to do my ground. You know what I mean? Because it's been a long time since I did that. But that's really good stuff, man, to learn. And so long as we ain't talking about feet, I'm good.
Well, not to talk about feet, but there is since we going old school Chicago and comfort food and cultures, let's not forget the Mexicans and the Hispanic flair in Chicago. There was a spot called the Rondas back in the day on Division and Ashland. And so after the club, you know, you go to a Rondas, you get you a steak burrito with the sour cream and the cheese and the lettuce and the tomato and a little guac and then large horchata. Oh yeah, that was the shit. Shout out to Rondas. It ain't there no more, but it was the burritos were like this, kids. They were huge.
What?
It wasn't no little. They were 2 hands. I know this looks disgusting, no Diddy, but you needed 2 hands for those burritos.
Yo, I'm like, it's so. The one thing Canada's lacking in the worst way is like authentic, real, you know, Latino foods. Like we just it's few and far between. I've been to a couple of really nice, you know, nice Mexican restaurants here, and like I'm like, this ain't no burrito. You know what I mean? like what you're talking about is what they're putting on my plate. Just a massive thing, and I was like, whoa, this is not what I was expecting, but it's damn good. You know what I mean? So a little bit more of that needs to be up here. We just don't have it, man. It makes me mad.
What's your favorite? Like Chicago, hands down, we have the best finger foods. What do we mean by finger foods? Hot dogs, hamburgers, you know, stuff like that. You know, chicken wings, shit like that. Yeah, little ribs and shit like that. Finger foods. What is your favorite finger food, fellas?
I'm probably gonna say chicken wings, man. So easy to reproduce, and it's hard to screw up.
Yeah, that's oh shit. I don't know, because
pizza, that's a finger food.
Well, shit. I mean, that's like asking, you know, a parent of 4 kids, who's your favorite child?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, I love them all. Shit. Because some days I want this, some days I want that. You know, and don't forget the elotes, the Mexican street corn.
Persian food.
And who is that? Who was the culture that ate the chicken feet? Was that the Caribbean or was that the Creole?
Well, we do it too. Yeah, we'll make like a chicken
Caribbean and Creole shit.
Yeah.
Like,
So, how do you prepare a chicken foot? How do you put some flavor up in that little thing?
soup though. Soup.
This is ridiculous because ain't no
Soup
meat
base
there.
usually. Yeah, exactly. It's soup base. You get a lot of flavor, chicken flavor out of the foot. That's usually what it's used for. At least in Jamaica. Same thing with cow foot. They'll put the cow foot in there. You're just gonna get flavor, beef flavor out of it. It's not so much for the meat.
So it's not like neck bones or oxtails.
No, a little bit different. Like neck bones, you'll get some shit. You know what I mean? You'll get some meat out of that. Oxtail, you get some really tender meat out of that. But
Trips, if you never had crayfish, don't eat them. There's a whole lot of sucking going on. And
crayfish, a boil. We not a shrimp boil, but a lobster boil or a seafood boil.
Yeah. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that shit around a whole bunch of dudes.
Wait, what they call them, the mud bugs.
Don't be doing that shit around a whole bunch of dudes. All that sucking on them shells and all that old bullshit.
Yeah, but the thing is that the every dude that's in there is all sucking anyway because everybody's eating them. You know, because ain't nobody thinking about nothing nasty. It's like this shit good, y'all.
You never know. You never know when you might run into this motherfucker.
Hey now. Hey,
where did Nasty Nate come in from?
Nasty Nate on there. Like, hey, man. All that sucking. Hey. No.
What's a cocktail?
No, mud bugs, Nasty Nate, mud bugs.
You gotta be careful when you're doing all that sucking around now. You know, motherfucker might see that a little bit different now. I'm just saying now.
Well, that's why grown men can't enjoy a goddamn ice cream cone in public.
Man, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, bro. Like it's one of the best films ever. This homie on the left, oh, the Squirrel Master, the Squirrel Master. Pop it, Pop.
That shit is hilarious. If you never watch Half Baked, that is the most hilarious.
Squirrel Master.
Oh my goodness, man!
I'll watch him down the popsicle.
Don't
grown men can't do that shit in public.
Don't feed the horse. Leave the horse alone. Oh my God, my boy in the jail circling.
Oh my
jail love. Go get out there, make money. No more jail love.
No,
he said, "No, you're a bad man. No, he's
a bad man."
No. Or Clarence Williams. So you want some candy?
Right by the beach, Mr.
Smiley. Yeah, Half Baked was a classic.
It is, man. Like,
but just the guy on the couch. He was just the guy on the couch.
Yeah, man, guy on the couch is the best because at some point he just got and the best part of the guy on the couch for me is I would come home, you know what I mean, come to my apartment back in the days and this movie would be playing and I could just look over my shoulder and there'd be a motherfucker on my couch. And you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, okay, man.
Get up to go pee, hit the joint, and go back to bed.
No,
go back to the couch.
No, Thurgood. He gave my boy some advice. Don't worry about me. It's about you. It's about Kenny and getting Kenny out of jail.
I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
I will be fine. Take care of Kenny. He's what's important. Like, I take a 6-minute piss. He's sitting there taking a piss for a week because he's been sleeping. Oh, one of the best films of all time, yo. Yo, shout out to
you gotta be half baked to watch it. You gotta be half baked. If you're not gonna get it, man. You're not gonna get it. If you're not,
but also,
man, don't watch half baked because you're not gonna get none of that.
Speaking of not gonna get it, a lot of this will fly over many heads, but it rubs the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Oh, Lord.
That's just too funny.
Silence of the Lambs.
Any more testimonies about nasty Nathaniel before we get up out of here?
Nathaniel.
I think we've covered the nasty Nate there. I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Squirrel Master and all. Hey, have you ever watched Half Baked? Have you ever watched Half Baked on weed?
Weed?
Oh, dude, it's like
John
you don't have to
Stewart.
tell nobody. If somebody's not a weed smoker, then Half Baked is not for you. That's just flat out truth. You might be a real weird person that can really get the humor in the high shit, but you really need to smoke one. You really do. Or you won't get the straight up humor that's in this motherfucker that you can't miss.
He said, I'm a master of the custodial arts.
The squirrel master. Yo, man, I'm just saying that was basically my 20s. That film. It was just motherfuckers living on my couch and me going to work and coming back. I wasn't pushing a mop. You know what I mean? But the scientist. There was so many jokes, man. So many jokes from that. Janitor? Hi, scientist. Man, trust me, bro.
Hello, janitor.
Hello, janitor.
When that motherfucker, when David Chappelle was playing that damn the weed giant, the
Mr. Smiley Face.
that shit was hilarious to me, man.
I need to back you out of me.
Yes.
Oh man. That fucking
Mr.
song.
Smiley Face.
Mr. Smiley Face.
Oh God. All right, man. Let's get to some pleasantries before we get up out of here, kid.
Well, I give a bunch of shout outs today, man. You guys are killing it in the chat today. We didn't somehow we skipped over I'm gonna get you sucker. There's a whole section of the chat for a minute just cracking I'm gonna get you sucker jokes. One of these days we'll get into it, because if I'm sitting here saying that that Half Baked is one of my favorite movies, I'm gonna get you sucker is again top 5 for me for sure. Love that film and love y'all for bringing it up, because that just means that you guys are definitely rocking with me. So let me give you guys a little bit of love before we bail out of this joint. Leonidas Rockefeller, you're a real one, man. Thanks for coming through. Leo Factor, always good to have you out here, brother. Good to have you. The good minister, Charles Johnson. Super no maniac, the good minister. Check him out on Mondays. He's got an awesome show. Hope you guys will enjoy it. I'm sure you will. My dude, the Fart Man, was with us. He's cracking some jokes in there too, y'all. The Scrolls, mad humor as per normal. Thanks for coming through and spending time. Cliff Victoria cooking it up in the chat, man.
He's Mr. Wagyu.
He's Mr. Wagyu, the Wagyu man. We got Mr. Mayhem as well as Smitty Q out there with us, man. You guys are keeping it real. Damon Dice doing the darn thing. Black Rain was with us for a little bit today. Who else am I missing? Yo, you guys, Brad Williamson was out there doing the darn thing. Man, there's a couple more folks here for me to talk about. Crooked Commission was in here earlier on. Shout out to you, Crooked.
You say Ant Mass and King. I think
both of them, King Booker, Ant Moss, and it's Crimson. It's Crimson just bailed out. He said good night to all of y'all. So shout out to you, Crimson. You're always out here doing the darn thing with us for sure. Dr. Earl jumped in, spent a little bit of good time, a couple of jokes here and there. FFG. You caught the I'm bad reference, man. It was well played too, man. You have to catch it on replay if you want to catch it, but it was well played. Kedro cookies, bro. You know what I'm saying? AC Adam, what it do, AC Adam? See, Triple R's catching it.
Oh, now I got you.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Now you're catching it. What else we got? Who else is out there, man? Oh, Nick Rember jumped in with us. What it do, Nick? Shout outs to the dude as well, man. Hopefully everything is square with you. If it ain't, get it square. And, you know, there's a home for you right here when you get back. Who else? There's a bunch more, man. But the chat was popping, man. Mad interaction today. A lot of jokes. Hair Bear was out there, man. Got to get you back on a show here in the future, Hair Bear, man. Real good to chop it up with you, man. See more butts. As funny as it is, I'll just leave it as it stands. You know what I'm saying? Chris Foster, Don Burr. I think this is the There's got to be one of the fake Don Burrs. At this point, I can't even figure out who's who in the zoo anymore. I'm losing count. There's just too many Don Burrs out there now. Robert Frail, real stuff from Robert. Shout outs to you, dog. Appreciate it. Who else? Come on. Oh, Dennis Moody. King Booker. I must have said King Booker, but if I didn't, Matt, shout outs to you as well. Marlon Johnson's out there, came through, spent a little bit of time with us too. T3P podcast was down too. Thanks for coming through, my dude. Joseph Archer. What it do, Joseph? Super No Maniac Joseph Archer was with us for a little bit. Electric was out there too, and Marco King. Zach jumped in, did the darn thing with us for a little bit. Appreciate that, Zach. Liberty's Outlook came through bright and early. Hey, man, we went around the horn. To be honest with you, at some point we just said, who cares about this darn coaching thing? Let's talk about some other stuff and have a good time. And I think we all did. So I appreciate the conversation. I thought it was awesome. I can always talk food as long as I don't have to eat it all day long. So, I'm trying to keep this body sexy and trim for no good reason. And it ain't working. That being said, man, I will throw it down to my guy, Triple R, give it a little bit of love. And then, Nomad, you can take us home. Triple R.
Hey, big and sexy is in the eye of the beholder.
It is.
And there's plenty that like some thick.
See?
So it just depends on who's beholding, because then it's like, yeah, you just perfect for me, boo-boo. I see you, hey, whoever that may be. What up, AC, Adam? Big up to all the No-Maniacs, all the super No-Maniacs out there that contributed to this evening's program with your comments, and whether it be on sports and the Bears and whatever the fuck is going on with the head coaching search and who will that be, and whether it be the Chicago neighborhood stuff or the food, exercise, and restaurant stuff. Hey, shout out to y'all. And remember, sports Chicago style. That's the channel. Hook your boy up with the subs. All right, cool.
Amen.
All right, and with that said, pass it on to Nomad.
And with that, hey, I appreciate everybody that's rocking with us, man. Y'all know who y'all are. The people that really rock with us over here at the Nomad Network and over there at Sports Chicago Style, and also over there on, what is your channel's name, kids?
Hey, Kedz and Canuck, named after Kedz and Canuck. That's me. Feel free to jump on, take a peek at what we got going on. Things will continue to grow. So we're just burgeoning through, and good to have you. I need as many subs as I can get. By all means, like, share, and subscribe, y'all.
And also shout out to everybody in Cali, still going through all that bullshit with the fires and such.
Yes. Say that again, man, because I think we haven't mentioned that quite as much as I think we should have. But the what's going on in Cali is way worse than I would have ever imagined when that fire started. That is, anybody that's in California, Scrolls, I know he's from out in Cali, in the San Diego area. I don't know how he's affected by it. I can think of a couple more people off the top of my head, but that is bad, man. And I just really was sending good vibes to everybody out there, and just know that it's just a moment, and whatever it is, it's going to get better. For whatever reason. I mean, it's really bad, man.
It's like all your shit gone.
Ooh.
Burn up, gone. Not even ashes to pick through because the wind was so windy, it blew all the ash off, and it gone, incinerated. And it's like, where are you gonna live? Where are you gonna work? Where your clothes, all your, keepsakes and mementos from back in the day, gone. And it's like, those people are really going through it. And so, there's nothing that I can say or do to not make that happen, except that you're not alone, and hey, you just keep strong, and prayers with you. Thoughts and prayers can be such an empty, just saying, but hey, the empathy's here.
So I gotta ask a dumb question before we leave, because Wild Hog asked a dumb question, or made a dumb statement. It's not dumb at all. But why would somebody set a fire on purpose like that? Speculatively thinking here.
One reason that fires were set at the time were because they're homeless people, and they weren't setting fires to set the city on fire. They were setting fires to stay warm. And, 100-mile-an-hour winds is going to blow, those ashes around. So there could have been some deliberate, acts of arson, but a lot of what has been on the media has been overblown or just lied about. There was a story about black people looting, and it was really them just cleaning out their own house, trying to get away from the fire. So are there arsonists out there? Yeah, sure, maybe. But is this the fault of them? Like, nah.
It's interesting. Yeah, man, I'd like your answer too. What do you think?
So, I mean, I don't know enough to be speculating about nothing that's going on out there. I know this. As a human community, and I'll use this to close, and I want to thank everybody that was a part of this. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe if you're listening. Hit the subscribe button. If you haven't joined the show in the comment section, hit the subscribe button, and you can come in here and comment all you want to on a show like this. Just hit the subscribe button. We need your help. And let us know after the show what you think in the comment section. And I don't know what to think about this whole California thing, but I know this. There's a lot of things that can happen to you on the turn of a dime, in either one of us. Anything can happen from 1 minute to the next. And it's out of your control, right? That's one thing we can agree upon. Things that happen from one day to the next, 1 minute to the next, 1 second to the next is out of your control. You can't control what's happening next, right? Everybody can agree upon that. All you can control is your attitude about it. How do you respond to it? What you do beyond what just happened to you. And I've been through enough adversity in my life. And I'm not saying that I've been through more adversity than everybody else in the world. I know I haven't. But, compared to these guys on the screen, Trips, Kedz, who knows what their lives have taken them through. And every twist and turn that they've gone through, only thing that either one of them, and I know this for a fact, that they can control is their attitude after the fact. And so in this life, you got to understand this. There's nothing you can do about the next man other than try to influence him, or the next woman other than try to influence him. There's nothing you can do about this world but try to have an impact and try to be a difference maker in it. The only thing that you can absolutely count on in this world is your motherfucking attitude about everything. That's it. Monitor your attitude. Measured responses. Just be conscientious about how you respond to whatever you're going through. Just know that being a creature of the moment could either land you something very, very good or something very, very adverse. It just really matters how you manage your attitude about everything in this world.
There was the last week at one of the playoff games, I forget the teams, but I saw a video of a fan of the home team calling some woman of the opposing team, all her name and all kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, you stupid, like blah, 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 blah. It's like, she ain't on the field. She don't own this team. She ain't got nothing to do with nothing. She's a fan just like you. As a fan, why are you talking all that shit to her? Why are you being an asshole? And you just never know where those assholes will be in your life. But guess what? We've all seen them. We've all had to deal with them, and that ain't going nowhere. So beyond the natural disasters, how you react to the asshole disasters. Do you whip that ass, or do you just try to move on?
Yeah. So I appreciate that, man, because that is a story that I've been monitoring recently. I don't understand that. I don't go to games no more because of that. Because, dude, I'll turn around and send you right out of your shoes and socks acting like that in front of me.
And he's acting like that to a total stranger, but like who was that? Mr. Man just said Eagles fan. He lost his job because guess what? The video went viral. his employers were like, "Oh, we can't have that." And so now you're at a football game talking shit for no reason to nobody for nothing, and now you ain't got a job no more. And so, and now of course it's going to be somebody else's fault, that framed him or gave him the alcohol or videoed it. It's always somebody else's fault. But just the assholes in public who maybe grew up on social media and don't know what it's like to get punched in the fucking face for disrespecting somebody talking to them. Is that where we've gotten as a society, where we've gone beyond our caveman animalistic instincts so far that little assholes can just talk shit without repercussions? And that's what it seems like a lot of people are on.
Trips, it's the fact of the matter is that like that person has that straight trifling part of him was only unleashed when he bought that ticket to that stadium and he got around an environment that he felt like he could let that out in. He decided. Now this is a professional. He was a so-called professional man in his private life. He was working for a firm that took good care of him, and he was a very professional guy that bought a ticket into an environment that absolutely fed into his inner self. And that inner self was to come in here and be absolutely a heathen. And there's no recourse for it. I can come in here and be a fucking heathen, and can't nobody say it's that inner heathen inside that guy that came out, and he thought that he can get away with it inside there. He's probably gotten away with it 1,000 times.
Yeah, well, that's the norm there, because remember, well, I don't say remember, but I remember there was a video earlier in the season from a Philadelphia fan, a little kid, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old or whatever. But he was saying "fuck you" to the opposing team's fans as he passed them by. And it was like, so
I don't understand why people do that shit. It's like that. Just because you pay for a ticket to go somewhere and pay for an event doesn't give you the license to be an absolute motherfucking animal just because you pay for a ticket and talk to people any way you want to talk to.
But then to teach the kids to do that same shit.
Oh man, it's stupid. It's so fucking stupid to me. I've had to listen to in other stadiums, like, what the fuck is wrong with you motherfuckers? Like, dude, do you talk to your mama like that? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why do you come? What is it about coming into this place that makes you feel like you can talk to anybody any fucking way you want to?
Right. You bought your ticket, so you got the right to say, "Fuck you, you suck." As a player, as a human being, as an individual, as a team, as a franchise, I can voice my displeasure about everything and everybody any way I want to with no repercussions.
So
don't kids, whatever you do, just don't try to side with that shit, please.
Oh, what? How can I side with that? We're talking about beating people up in the streets. All I'm saying is this: these things here mine's got 3 cameras on it. So there was once a time in the world where there were none of these out in the world, and you could act a fool. That time long gone. So if you're gonna act a fool, recognize that somebody somewhere has one of these in their pocket, and it's got 3, if not 4 cameras on it. You're a candid camera, bro. And apparently this guy's lost his job because of one night of stupidity. Be smart, folks. It ain't that, it ain't that timing. It's a whole new time. You're gonna put on blast.
That man was in there calling that woman all kinds. That was in him. And he needed the pinprick to let it out.
Be
and
better.
The alcohol and the environment did it for him. He needed the trigger. And that trigger exposed exactly who that man is. And I'm gonna close with that. And that pinprick and that trigger that made that man what he showed himself to be in front of the world, whatever he is in his personal life, whatever he is as an Eagles fan, whatever he is, or try to purports himself to be, it's a bunch of bullshit. What he is in that moment that he treated that woman like that with her husband right there, with all those Eagles fans behind him, knowing that He had all the fucking back in the world, and I can do what the fuck I want to do because this mob is going to pile on you if you decide to react. You piece of shit. You fucking piece of shit. And I'm going to close with that. You can do a whole lot of things in this world. You can't control none of it. The only thing that you can control is your motherfucking attitude. Do something about that. Whether it's a good or bad attitude, you can do something about that. You can do that. Do that for us over here at the Nomad Network and Sports Zone Chicago. And Kedz, what's your network?
Yeah, that would be a Sports Chicago style.
Well said. Good
My
cat.
fault.
At Kedz a Canuck on YouTube. Check me out.
Well, with that being said, I'll leave you with these famous words. If you can think it, people, and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Don't be a prisoner of your mind. But with that being said, we are out.